With Guy Swindles on BBC Essex and BBC London, also online via the BBC Sport website and app, and also via the Essex cricket picture feed. And welcome to our coverage of this afternoon's T20 game between Essex and Middlesex. These two sides very much opposite ends of a table, in the sense that Essex are one of now a group of three counties who are most favoured perhaps to get a place in the quarter-finals, whereas Middlesex are right down towards the bottom of the table looking for a rare victory. But they have had surprise successes on this ground before, so that's fairly recently as well, so we'll wait and see if that comes to pass. Middlesex have won the toss and chosen to field, and Essex are going in with Paul Walter, Michael Pepper, Jordan Cox, back from temporarily from the England squad, obviously not getting a game at the moment against India, so getting this match. Allison, Benkenstein, Critchley, the in-form very much with the bat, Simon Harmer, ditto Shane Snater, and indeed Zaman Akhtar, and then Sam Cook and Mackenzie Jones. And you have to say that's a pretty strong Essex side, stronger than maybe in some recent games, with Sam Cook coming back on Friday very successfully, and Jordan Cox back in the side today. He did, of course, play in, I think it was the game against Kent. I think he made 40 odd, but he could make a big mark today. So Essex would have been quite happy, we understand, to have batted first this afternoon. It's now a glorious afternoon. The cloud cover that we had for the women's game, which the Essex women, by the way, if you weren't with us earlier, won quite splendidly by 9 wickets. That cloud cover has broken up. It's not absolutely boiling hot, but it's now a pretty warm afternoon. It's mainly blue sky, little flecks of cotton wool cloud, but very nice indeed. And with me is Guy, and Guy, it's Middlesex playing for pride a little bit. How does their side look up?
Well, the side lines up like this. It's Matt Boyle will open alongside Max Holden. Then we've got Josh de Carey's coming into the side for Ethan Bosch, the South African overseas player, who possibly hasn't quite risen to the task quite as Middlesex would have hoped. Hence why we have the Irishman Matt Boyle opening in this one. Then the skipper Leas deployed, Ben Geddes, Luke Holman, Zafar Gohar, Seb Morgan, Tom Helm and Navya Sharma. So we've got two of the very young but impressive seam bowlers that Middlesex have brought through to great success this season. Navya Sharma's just coming back from England Lions England A duty, where he enjoyed himself quite a lot and turned in some excellent figures. And Seb Morgan, who's just 18, played in England's under-19 World Cup when they came second the other day. And we will see really how Middlesex get on, but they haven't been great all season. We have a few technical issues, so bear with us. We will probably just be switching from one kit to another. On the radio, everything I believe is working fine on the TV stream.
So we have Essex sent into bat here, and it is going to be Navya Sharma, who will be a new name to viewers at Chelmsford, coming in from the Alistair Cook end and bowling to Paul Walter, who batted so splendidly here on Wednesday night, and he gets a single off the first ball played away out towards deep mid-wicket.
Yeah, it's only Navya Sharma's second blast match this season because he's been away elsewhere, and they want to rotate him and Seb Morgan so they're not playing too much cricket at the nascent stages of their careers.
So Sharma's now going to bowl to Michael Pepper, who has played a key role on Friday evening in that victory at home, which is a very important one for Essex, coming as it did alongside a crushing defeat for Kent in the cross-pool match at Worcester, which has put Essex in a pretty strong position for qualification. They're on 20 points alongside Surrey, who lost last night, Hampshire 4 ahead at the top. And this is a loose stroke, actually, to a good delivery from Sharma. He's trying to force it away off the back foot, and it goes through to Cracknell. Now, if you weren't with us earlier, this pitch is a very good one, like the one on Wednesday night, where Surrey got 184 in the women's game and couldn't defend it. Essex winning with 5 balls to spare, so there's plenty of runs out there, and it might be that the part of the Middlesex thinking was we'll chase whatever Essex set us. Although, of course, their batting form this season wouldn't unduly inspire confidence in that. As Sharma bowls, and it's just played up into the offside, and there is no run.
Yes, he's a little bit quicker than a lot of the batters are expecting if they haven't faced him before, Navya Sharma. But there are 1 or 2 young seam bowlers that Middlesex are. Noah Cornwall currently injured, the left armour. He's got a very good record in T20, but he'll be trying to force his way back in the team when he's fit again.
So Sharma back at the end of his mark. We've got a slip. We've also got almost a fly slip or short third. A cover mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and square leg, and that one's the pure for LBW. Useful delivery, well pitched up, and Pepper tries to work it away into the onside, but he doesn't get anything other than pad on that, so that'll be a dot ball. That continues this pretty good start from the Middlesex perspective this afternoon. Middlesex, I say, down on 4 points, just the 1 win so far. There's Essex very much after that turn of events, almost like a double helping of good news for them on Friday with that great win at Hove, and Kent's run rate really being hampered with that defeat at Worcester. This is forced off the back foot and goes away down towards third man, and I was going to say that would have been a good stop had it been stopped, but it just eludes third man running round, and that provides a 4, which will be useful for Essex and Michael Pepper at this early stage. Yes, Pepper in the runs on Friday night, important 47 from 29 balls. Allison and Benkenstein with 20s, Critchley with 34, and of course then Simon Harmer's 46 off 17 balls with that spectacular finish to the innings, which took Essex beyond 200 and well out of Sussex's reach as it turned out. Sharma bowls again, and this is hit on the bounce out towards cover. Strange shot, he was trying to hit it down the ground, but it just went straight into the ground and then bounced up into the covers, and there was no run. The end of the first over from Sharma with Walter 1 and Pepper 4, and it's 5 for no wicket.
Yeah, pretty good over from Navya Sharma. Should have been cut off on the boundary as well. So just 5 though, he would have settled for that beforehand. Now from one end we've got the youngster in Navya Sharma, at the other end the experience of Tom Helm, who once again has been a leading bowler, the leading bowler really. He's taken 10 wickets so far in this competition, and that is the leading wicket taker for Middlesex, which possibly shows that they've struggled at times to bowl the opposition out. But Tom Helm continues at 32 to do well, and he's coming in from the Graham Gooch end to Pepper, who plays it firmly defensively back past the bowler, but mid-off can get around to cut the ball off before any damage is done.
Yeah, it wasn't a superb victory for Essex at Sussex. I think it was last year when they would have won the game, but for the fact that the umpires weren't allowed the flexibility to shorten the innings, knowing that there was going to be a severe storm at 9:30, which duly arrived and washed the game out.
And once again, that's flicked away, but also straight to the fielder at mid-wicket, and there is no run.
So Middlesex have had another tough season, haven't they, Guy?
They
just
have.
the 4 points, and I think they're sort of going along at a sort of like 1 win in 5 at the moment this decade. they qualified in 2019, but haven't had much joy since.
Nothing. It's been a bit depressing for the fans, to be honest, because they're understandably throwing pretty much everything at the county championship. But the T20 is quite the money maker, and really haven't quite had the right squad to take on the big boys in this format. Got 1 or 2 excellent players. Max Holden always picked up. Leas Deploy in the 100, for instance. They're always amongst the first couple of people bought, but just not the strength in depth. But they're trying to bring more youngsters through, as we're seeing, so maybe next year. Year. Helm will now be bowling to Pepper after a single off the last ball from Walter, who flicked it round to fine leg for the 1. Still got that fly slip in that short third man position. Navya Sharma taking it up. As Helm is in, right arm over the wicket. Goes to Navya Sharma, who can't stop them taking a single. Ambled through, really. Not the world's greatest throw, but there are fielders backing up, thank goodness. And Ben Geddes, after the ball, eludes Joe Cracknell behind the stumps. Does the honours. And, well, we're filling up very nicely in the ground now. We had a decent crowd earlier on.
Women, yeah.
But now this has started. There were obviously a few people having something to eat and drink around the ground, and that's flicked away nicely. But it will be only a single again from Walter. 3 from 5 now for him.
Should point out that last year, a game played on the 8th of June here at Chelmsford, Middlesex won it by 6 wickets. So it's just saying that Middlesex have, on occasions, upset Essex. Essex only made 156, and Middlesex knocked them off with 15 deliveries and 6 wickets spare. So that was a very good performance. Eskenazi was in the runs, and Kane Williamson was playing.
Helm in with a slower ball, and it completely baffles Michael Pepper and goes through to the wicketkeeper, and that's a terrific over from Tom Helm. Just 3 runs from it, so 8 without loss after 2, and these two doing pretty well. Yeah, and the worst thing for Middlesex recently as well is you can tell their kind of heads are going down. Their last 5 defeats are 8 wickets, 60 runs, 6 wickets, 100 runs. So really haven't been close since the beginning of the season.
It's a bit like the results when the teams in the Central and West group have played the South group in the cross-pool games in this competition. 6-0, a 6-0 win sealed by Gloucestershire over Surrey last night, and not one of the games remotely close. Here's Sharma bowls, and that's played by Walter along towards deep mid-wicket for a single. So a cautious start here by Essex, and yeah, all thumping victories for the Central and West group. I think they've won 4 out of 5 against the North group as well. Between them, the sides in that group have 120 points, and the North group 96 and the South group 92, including the 2 points that Sussex lost at the start. So it just shows you how dominant the Central and West group have been. But yeah, 6 very big wins, including one, of course, for Northants against Essex. As Sharma comes in to bowl, and that's bowled him. That's a lovely piece of bowling, and it beats Pepper all ends up. Good start by Middlesex here, and that was a lovely piece of bowling. A Yorker length delivery. It's knocked over Pepper's off stump, and it's 9 for 1 in the 3rd over, and that's very much what the doctor ordered from the Middlesex point of view. And Essex have not quite managed to get going yet, but that's very much down to the quality of the bowling from the visitors.
Yes. And Navya Sharma showing what he can do there. It was a great delivery. It jagged in, and Pepper trying to get things going a bit, just played round it, and stumps rearranged. So well bowled Navya Sharma.
2 years ago, Michael Pepper got 101 out of 44 balls in this fixture, 6 sixes and 10 fours. We might have mentioned that later, but we're going to have to mention that now because he's on his way back. But so it shows he has got form in this contest, and that was when he really showed his qualities as a red ball batter for Essex and reminded everyone what he could do. But here's someone who can do plenty. He's got also a lot of time to bat. It's Jordan Cox.
Yes, back from England duty. I was just watching the replays of that. That was actually a really wonderful in-swinging Yorker from Navya Sharma. So did everything right, but you're right, Jordan Cox, who he's finally getting into, he was used to get injured whenever he got picked for England, but eventually he has played 1 test, 3 ODIs and 6 T20s for his country, and just a couple of blast matches this year, high score of 40 against Kent. And, well, in glorious sunny conditions on what we know is a pitch filled with runs, can he turn things around a little bit for Essex after this good start from Middlesex, 9 for 1 in the 3rd over. Navya Sharma racing in once again.
And this is run down off the open face. Nice solid start away for a single. It's ironic cheer as the fielding is completed. But it's a fairly straightforward piece of fielding down there at 3rd man. But 10 for 1. And Cox has a single and Walter has 4.
Yeah. Walter at the moment happy to just keep things ticking over. But we know when he decides to go, the ball goes.
This is Sharma, who's bowling very well, coming into bowl to Walter on 4. And Walter plays a clubbing drive, not particularly timed, up towards mid-on, and will collect a single. So Paul Walter, going into this game as leading run scorer for Essex, 277 at a strike rate of 168. One notable difference between these two sides is the strike rates for the batting. Jordan Cox will, of course, his way down that list because he's hardly played, but he, of course, played an absolutely brilliant innings against Hampshire last year, and fair chance he might be playing in the equivalent fixture on Friday night, and looking to repeat the dose, as this is a nice drive by Cox. It goes straight up to mid-on. He probably was hoping that he was going to time that a bit better and it can go past mid-on for 4, but didn't quite hit it hard enough. But this is a very good start with the ball for Middlesex, and what we know is a pretty flat wicket. 1 ball left of the 3rd over. There already been a dismissal of Michael Pepper, and so far the Essex batting not quite able to break free. So here's Sharma again, running away from us from the Alistair Cook end. He bowls, and that's played nicely up into the offside. What a good over, and what an impressive couple of overs it's been. Someone very much new to me, and as I say, all Middlesex can do is to try and bring players through and see if they can make the grade at the format and try and put a side together that's going to be more competitive. But those 2 overs from Sharma, very, very encouraging indeed. I wonder if he'll carry on at this point. Walter 5, Cox 1, 11 for 1 Essex after being sent in, and we've had 3 overs, and Middlesex have got 3 overs nicely out of the way here.
Indeed, they couldn't have asked for better after winning the toss and putting Essex in. Seb Morgan, who's even younger than Navya Sharma, is in, and that comes off a very big, thick outside edge, but he gets away with it, does Paul Walter, to warm applause around the ground. He gave the charge to Seb Morgan, and well, he got away with it basically because it came off a thick outside edge, and he scored 4 through the 3rd man region.
Well, Walter's last outing here was quite remarkable. 78 from 30 balls for 12 fours and 4 sixes. And he gave Essex a real chance of getting that 241 against Surrey.
And this is a much better shot, and it goes through the unfortunate fielder, and he's decided to have a go at Seb Morgan, and that's back-to-back boundaries. Tom Helm is livid with himself for not stopping it, and well, certainly he was there or thereabouts, but the ball was struck so hard that by the time Tom Helm had got down, the ball was through him.
Yes, he was out in the 9th over when the score was 105. So he was quite happy to, pretty reasonably happy to repeat that today.
Well, he started well against Seb Morgan. And there's another massive outside edge. It's going to be 4 more, but only one of those 3 boundaries has actually been meant, or gone in the field where it was meant. He obviously meant to try and hit the ball for 4, but that came off a very thick outside edge and went over point to 4.
It's fair to say that Walter has addressed, you would have seen that's a fairly quiet start Essex have made on a fairly flat wicket, and he's done something about it in doubling the score in fairly spectacular fashion, even if not all off the middle of the bat.
Yeah, he scored more in 3 balls than they did in 3 overs. Oh, and that's a really good response from Seb Morgan with a terrific Yorker. Suddenly Walter had to concentrate on, dig out, and they still managed to get through for a single. Yes, that was an interesting first 3 overs. 11 runs, first 3 balls of the 4th, 12. Score now 24 for 1. Walter has suddenly raced on to 18. Cox on strike, just taking his guard. Getting ready to face Morgan for the first time. And this is launched over Tom Helm. Oh, if he catches it, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. He was running back and back and back and then had to take the catch. And he lays on the ground almost in prayer as he manages to hold on to that. So Jordan Cox, on his return to the team, has gone for one, and Seb Morgan, who'd taken a bit of humpty early on in that over, has bitten back against Middlesex, against Essex, and has removed Cox for one.
Well, Morgan will trade those 3 boundaries for that wicket, I think, Guy, won't he?
Yes.
Because that was a good ball, because it prompted what was a full shot from Cox. There's no doubt about that. He was looking to hit that sort of down the ground and probably over long off for 6. But he didn't quite get completely on top of it, and ball went a long way up, and at one point Helm was an outside bet to take the catch, but he really circled very well and judged it to perfection. So it was a good start for Middlesex, and as I say, Essex have got themselves, particularly after the events of Friday night, into a fantastic position in this group. I mean, 4 points ahead of Kent and with a better net run rate, but they don't want to undo it with a loose performance today. And I say Middlesex have got recent form on this ground, as we've already mentioned, so it's going to be one where Essex are going to have to look to put together a partnership here. Charlie Allison, no reason why he can't do that. He and Walter were 2 leading run scorers coming into this game. 266 for Allison at a strike rate of 141. And what Middlesex have done, though, is just make Essex perhaps think of a little bit of caution, because Cox's attitude is always to attack regardless of the position.
Final ball should be of Seb Morgan's over, and it's driven sweetly but fielded, and after 13 were conceded, 12 were conceded off the first 3 balls, 1 and a wicket in the last 3 balls, and at the end of the 4th over, 24 for 2. Essex, Charlie Allison averaging over 50 this season, so he is going to be a tough man for as far as Middlesex are concerned.
So Hampshire on the top of the group with 24 points from 8 games. They were recently pegged back when they lost. They had, I think, about 6 wins in a row, and they lost to Kent, who are sometimes their bogey side. That was at Canterbury. Today they're playing them at Southampton. Hampshire 102 for 1 in the 11th over, and James Vince is 51 not out of 35 balls. And I suspect that Kent have to get him out if they're going to have a chance. That's hit in the air. Oh, goodness me, Walter's lucky. First ball of Sharma. Sharma stayed on, and the first ball of his 3rd over, he almost chipped straight to mid-on. Leading edge, and it just falls short, and that would have been a fantastic breakthrough for Middlesex to get a 3rd wicket. But I think Sharma's staying on as of right, because he's bowled well enough, and perhaps with Cox going, that's maybe just reinforce the decision. 24 for 2.
Yeah, and they've got other people who can bowl at the death as well. So, yeah, it was worth doing, but he was lucky there, the batter, because it went over the bowler and in front of the mid-off.
5 saving 1 on the offside, 2 on the leg side, and Walter gets a wide outside the leg stump, which he does actually try and play a shot to, tries to play a big pull shot. It is actually a man on the deep backward square leg boundary. So he might have been annoyed if he hit that straight to the field, because it was always going to be a wide, which it duly was. But Paul Walter needs now, I think, to replicate that knock he played on Wednesday night, which was a fantastic one. But it's a different sort of situation here. 25 for 2 put into bat. We're in the 5th over, and Sharma bowling very well. 2 overs and 1 ball, 1 for 9 as he comes up to the wicket bowls, and that's another good one. It rather cuts Walter in two. There's a bit of movement out there, even though it's clear sunny weather now. We had cloud earlier on. There's still a bit going on for the bowlers. And if you weren't with us earlier, the Essex women made the pitch look an absolute shirt front. And the top 3 got to a target of 185 with 5 balls to spare and 9 wickets. But it's almost like looking like a slightly different surface now. But Middlesex have made a good start. Yes. I wonder, was the last game that Durham game, Guy, the one they lost by 100 odd runs at Richmond? Don't think they've played since.
They haven't, no.
This is hit a lot down the ground. A good looking shot from Walter. That'll be 4 to the long on boundary. I just wonder, that was slightly overpitched from Sharma and put away well by Walter. That was such a abysmal defeat. I mean, Durham are not particularly known as a T20 side. And to lose at home by that sort of margin, get bowled out just over 100. I wonder if a few words have been said, and the team have been galvanised to produce something better, and they've started off in that way.
They certainly have, yeah. Paul Walter, that was a good shot, but he hasn't always looked completely in control of the ball.
So this is Sharma again, bowls. Oh, and this is one we're certainly not in control. He goes for a big swing down the ground. and plays and misses. Well, I've got Sharma winning this over on points at the moment in a T20 scenario,
Yes.
even though there has been a 4. I think we say Sharma's edging this over on points, particularly, of course, because he's bowled pretty well in all 3 overs.
Yeah, but because of the wide, there are still 2 balls
Yeah.
to go, and we know how just dangerous Paul Walter can be.
He's certainly throwing the bat at it here, Paul Walter. Here's Sharma again, up to the wicket, bowls, and Walter plays that one without any time. He's looking a bit frustrated actually out there. He's stepped away and tried to crash that to the covers, and there's no timing. So another little bit of an edging on the points win for Sharma. Maybe Walter can hit the last ball for 4 and even things up, but certainly Sharma getting encouragement from the Middlesex more senior players.
But it's interesting, I know he's scored plenty of boundaries, but he's only really timed 2 of them so
Yeah.
far, Paul Walters. He's a singular Walter, isn't he? He is a singular
Yeah.
Walter.
Here's Sharma up to the wicket, bowled, and that is lofted away and very well taken at mid-on. That's a good catch, because Deploy there had to really judge that, because it was going over his shoulder. He had to sort of look back, see where the ball was going, and took it very, very smartly. I think that was a rather more difficult catch than he made it look. He made it look much more simple. That is very much a points win, almost a knockout blow, dare I say, there for Sharma over Walter at the end there, because Walter was getting a little bit frustrated. He made pretty good connection with that one, but that was a fine catch. And here we've got a scenario where Essex are in a terrific position in the group. We know Kent are already struggling against James Vince at Southampton, and the only slight snag is they're 29 for 3 after 5 overs against Middlesex.
In the power play.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think Middlesex can quite believe what's happening at the moment. Certainly the Middlesex fans will be wondering, where has this been all season? But maybe it's just the fact that Navya Sharma is playing in this match, and he's only played in one other match in the tournament so far this season. So he has fantastic figures currently of 2 for not very many.
It sounds a bit like the West Indian
2 for
player.
13 in 3 overs.
Yeah, the West Indian, I think Jangu, who's been on the bench for about 5 years, finally got a game and made 240. So I doubt he'll be batting today actually in that Test match, so he might see how he gets on. But here we go.
Tom Helm back into the attack. He let Seb Morgan have 1 over. He went for 13 but took a wicket. Big one too of Jordan Cox, but Helm is back in. He conceded 3 runs in his first over, and he's conceded a single with the very first ball. So Allison now off the mark. Benkenstein also needs to get off the mark now.
Well, there's plenty of batting there, but
Yes.
you wouldn't want Simon Harmer coming in the 7th over, put it that way. I mean, with a platform, the likes of Harmer, Snater and Zohan Akhtar can be destructive.
Helm in once again. Oh, and that's an absolute beauty, and beats the rather tentative prod of Benkenstein outside off stump.
Well, nothing beat the Essex women's bats for 19 overs and 1 ball.
I know, we saw
Extraordinary.
390 runs, yes, in
and
the
it's the same
40
pitch.
overs. And it is the same pitch, but certainly the moment the Essex bowlers are getting a bit of extra lift, that's surprising the Essex batters every so often. And having played sort of quite a lot of their matches at Lords this season, they'll be enjoying this bounce. That's played on the up, but largely defensively from Benkenstein into the covers, and there is no run.
So we're back to a rather complicated qualification system. Having had the really straightforward one of the 2 groups of 9 and the top 4 qualifying, we've gone back to an older and more complicated system. So the group winners all qualify, and the second place sides all qualify, and the best second place side in the 3 groups also gets a home tie along with the 3 group winners.
And that, I believe, is the start of the explanation.
Yeah.
As in comes Helm again, and that's helped into the leg side, but there is a man out at deep backward square, so it'll only be a single.
And then you've got the 2 best third place sides also get away ties. Now, at the moment, it is shaping up as though, we mentioned how strong was Central and West group, that the third place side in that group and this one are likely to get the 2 best thirds, and the one in the North group is unlikely. It's not absolutely certain, but they're unlikely to.
Helm in once again, and it's Yorker length. It's actually really nicely played. by Charlie Allison, who makes a difficult shot look quite easy, playing it out to mid-wicket, and they go through for a single.
And there were two main reasons for that. As we mentioned already, the Central and West group, between them, have already got 24 points more than any other group. So there's, apart from Northants, they're spread out among sort of three teams in the middle. And the other thing is, of course, that Middlesex and Sussex haven't got many points at all in this group, so it follows that the others have got more as well in this one. So that's why it's shaping up that way.
Helm is in once again, and that's just very lucky on this occasion from Luke Benkenstein. He got a leading edge. Tom Helm couldn't get across to it, and mid-on couldn't get in time to pick it up. So just 4 singles off the over. So that's the end of the power play, and Essex, after being put in, 33 for 3.
Well, whereas the women's match looked like the Trent Bridge Test pitch day 1, this is looking like a Trent Bridge Test pitch day 4.
Quite.
It's strange, isn't it? The ball is stopping.
Essex women were 75 without loss after 6 overs.
Yeah, absolutely extraordinary. I mean, Middlesex won't be counting any chickens yet because there's a long way to go. But I tell you what, I have mentioned Essex have been upset here by Middlesex in a game that you would have expected them to win before, and they do not want the same thing to happen today. Because basically, if Essex win and Kent lose, Essex have got 1 foot in the quarter-finals.
Yes.
So, start of a new over. This is Holman coming on with his spin, and it's just played up into the offside, and bowler fields in his follow-through. Hampshire, Surrey and Essex at the moment the top 3. Kent taking that huge net run rate dent at Worcester. This is a flat one, and it's forced away off the back foot, goes away. It's a nice looking shot actually, goes away for 4 runs. Benkenstein, who's got a lot of time to bat here today, gets a 4 away through the covers. He's now got more than 200 runs in the competition this year. Started off on 199, and he's got a real chance here to play a major innings.
That was a lovely shot, because the fielder didn't have far to go and just had no chance whatsoever of cutting it off.
So the two youngsters, can they rescue Essex here? 37 for 3. If you have just joined us, that's a very strange and unexpected scoreline, as this is played away along the ground for a single by Benkenstein. He goes to 7. And Middlesex put Essex in, probably more in hope than expectation, and have taken 3 quick wickets and 3 very good ones, with Walter and Pepper, who both had outstanding performances in the last 4 or 5 days, and Jordan Cox, of course, is capable of threatening that at any time. And they've been very, very good indeed. So work for Essex to do as Holman bowled a flatter one. That's a pull shot and a good one, away through deep mid wicket, very well timed. Just dropped slightly short, and Benkenstein and Allison have taken Holman for boundaries in this over, and this is just improving things a little bit from the Essex point of view after they lost Pepper for 5, Cox for 1, and Walter, who never really settled in his 22 from 17 balls. As this is a back foot force. Oh, it goes through a cover for 4. It shouldn't have done. Might have taken an awkward bounce, but it's 3 boundaries in the over, and this is just putting things around for Essex. It's good shot that off the back foot from Allison, straight to square cover, but straight through square cover. Might have been an awkward bounce and goes for 4.
Yeah, this is not the over that they'd wanted at this juncture.
So Allison on 10 and Benkenstein 7, 46 for 3. We're in the 7th, and this is played away off the back foot down towards wide third for a single. So the introduction of Holman has not necessarily helped the Middlesex cause here, but he probably feels that last one shouldn't have gone for 4, even though it was very well timed while they went through the field. So Essex, after a poor start, looking to try and pull things round. They've had a good over there, taken the score up to 47 for 3. Certainly the best over so far, and Benkenstein 7 and Allison 11 looking to build.
Yeah, it's weird. They've had the 2 good overs, haven't they? They've scored 13 in one, 14 in another. So that's 27 of the 47 in 2 overs and 20 from the other 5. For those of you following who are with us, just to let you know what's going on in the Women's World Cup final, England didn't bother, 70 for 4 after 11 overs.
Yeah.
So
they're a very good side, aren't they?
They are. So Zafar Gohar with his left arm spin into the attack, and that is punched defensively to short extra, who fields it nicely.
I think Australia won the toss there, put England in, didn't they? So, and I think England would have probably liked to have fielded first.
Nat Shiverbrunt's still in, but Heather Knight's just gone. So Zafar Gohar, after seeing the fact that these two liked clambering into the spin of Luke Holman, is just pushing it through a little bit quicker at the moment than Holman did, who's trying to get the ball to do a bit of turning. That, though, is flicked up too long on. The bowler can't stop the ball and they trot through for a single. So Allison moves on to 12 from just 8 balls. Benkenstein has a runner ball 7 at the moment. Make that a runner ball 8.
Yes, it's going to be a slight readjustment from the Essex point of view. There's been perhaps an element of trying to force things in the first few overs. Walter's innings was probably an example of that. There seems to be a slight change of policy now, and looking sort of the field now back, looking to just work the ball around.
Gohar in again. He just gives that a little more air and certainly pushes the ball up, and it's a good tumbling stop again at that extra cover position that twice this over has saved runs. Seb Morgan, young man, sent in to stop too much happening in that region. Fires it in again and didn't know much about that one. Wraps him into the pads, and Cracknell has to come round to pick the ball up. Cameraman, like me, was looking out towards fine leg, but he hadn't actually got bat on ball. So 2 singles so far from this over from Zafar Gohar. And that's launched, but not really timed, and goes straight to extra cover. So a really good introduction for Zafar to come into the attack and just concede the 2 runs. 49 for 3 after 8.
So we will keep you up to date, particularly during at the end of the innings, with what's going on elsewhere. But the main match we're keeping an eye on, apart from the Women's World Cup final, is Hampshire against Kent in this group. Surrey and Gloucestershire. Surrey having played Gloucestershire last night and lost. So it's been a very good 48 hours for Essex with that result, and also the win at Hove and the big defeat for Kent at Worcestershire. Worcestershire could hardly have been better, really. Holman is going to come in to bowl to Benkenstein. Benkenstein plays one uppishly but safe, away out towards deep middle wicket. He might get a second here. No, they decide against it. But these two looking to rebuild. Hampshire 129 for 2. Vince out for 63. Weatherly is 41, not out. But they do have, of course, Stubbs and Cartwright, who did some damage against Essex very early on in the campaign. So they bat a long way down.
Ripple of applause for the 50.
As this next one driven away and doesn't beat cover. Good stop. Keeps score at 50. We got there in the 9th over. The 50 coming up off the second ball of the 9th, off the first ball of the 9th. And here's Holman again. Bowls, and this is driven away up towards long off. He's out of our sight, but will complete the fielding. So it's a tidier over this from Holman. So there are 2 things that have to be kept an eye on. It's quite a bit more complicated than it was with the 2 groups of 9. Who's going to finish as the best second and get the home tie, and who will finish as the weakest third and not qualify at all? As this is driven again for a single here by Benkenstein. They're just rotating the strike at the moment, building a launch pad. Got to be having their eye on 180 plus after what happened earlier on this pitch. 184 Surrey women made, and Essex women won by 9 wickets with 5 balls to spare. Is Holman bowling and has played defensively back down the pitch. And incidentally, when I interviewed Annika Bosch, she said, I went into the dressing room at half time and said that Surrey were 10 runs light.
Really?
Yes, which I thought was
brilliant.
Yeah.
She's almost exactly right.
I actually put the question that they might have thought they'd left some out there, and he said, I said that in the dressing room. There's Holman bowls, and that's lofted away down the ground up towards long on. Could be a catch, and it's taken, and it's 4 wickets. It's Boyle who's got the catch. And Essex rather gifting wickets here to Middlesex. Nicely taken that by Boyle. Just had to get in line underneath a Tom Pearce stand long on to take the catch. And Allison has gone out. It's 52 for 4. Now, Essex have got some batters down the list who are firing. No more so than Simon Harmer. But they do not want him coming in too early. And there's a little bit of a problem now in terms of 4 wickets being down, where at the end of the 9th over, 52 for 4. Middlesex are bang on top here, and a big disappointment just for Charlie Allison to be on his way back. And it was again a similar dismissal to one or two of the previous ones.
Absolutely.
And good fielding by Middlesex.
Yeah, no, Walter, Cox and Allison have all gone for the big hit and have picked out the fielder, and they've all paid the penalty. You just wondered why Allison went for that one. I know
the change of plan, wasn't it? They've been working the ball around, trying to build a platform.
Which seemed like a really good idea. Anyway, it's whether Middlesex, who are so unused to being in this position this season, get a nosebleed or not, as they find themselves completely on top after 9 overs. And Essex really struggling on 52 for 4. And Zafar Gohar, it was interesting too, Luke Holman's last over, he watched what Zafar had been doing at the other end and was firing it in.
Interesting.
Wasn't giving it the air he did in the first over when he got clattered. And Zafar again, left arm round, and that's just pushed up too long on to ironic cheers for the single, and it gets a few laughs around us in the commentary box as well.
So Middlesex got the one win this season. I haven't looked it up, but I imagine that's probably against Sussex.
Funnily enough, it was. Yes. You didn't even have to look it up.
Maybe Sussex have beaten Middlesex as well. I'm not sure. But Sussex actually beat Essex here right at the start and looked the normal Sussex. But obviously the problems that they've had there have gradually worn them down. I think
we haven't had our second game against them yet.
Well, that's
this is only our 9th
yes.
game. It's in the basement battle.
Yeah, it's
pushed out. They think about a single, but between the bowler and the mid-off stroke extra cover, they decide there isn't one.
Losing players, Sussex and Henry Crocombe going to Surrey. We think Flynn Hudson-Prentice probably going to Hampshire, and it must be quite demoralising for the players there.
And there's a little bit of bounce for Zafar as well, which slightly surprises Critchley, who has to check his shot and just push it into the covers for another dot. So we have 3 dots in the first 4 balls and a single. And this is coming up to the halfway point in the Essex innings. Faster again, and he can't get on top of it and push it away, and all Critchley can do is play it back to the bowler. And you can sense the frustration in the Essex batters at the moment. They really want to get going. Faster again, and that's nicely played, just flicked into the leg side, and they'll take a single. But just 2 runs from that over from Gohar, and he's now bowled 2 overs, none for 4, and 54 for 4 after 10 overs. It was announced on the tannoy, and I must say there wasn't a huge amount of applause around the ground.
Now I think there are more Surrey fans in supporting the women, possibly Middlesex fans in supporting the men. But no, it's a good turnout, and it's a nice Sunday afternoon atmosphere, isn't it? I think it'll be a bit rowdier on Friday night when Hampshire come. And it's going to be fascinating, that one, because depending on the Hampshire-Kent result and the result here, I mean, that could be it could almost be a battle to see who might take over the leadership of the group, but also it might be a bit more serious from the Essex point of view and be a must-win if they lose today, and particularly if Kent wins. So it's going to be an interesting one. That's the last home game on Friday, and then of course there is a little matter of Surrey again, this time at the Oval, next Sunday afternoon. Here's Holman bowling, reverse sweep, and it goes out towards mid-wicket, who's not expecting it, and the strike comes in, and Critchley gets in for a run, but I think if initially the fielder wasn't expecting it to come to him, and Critchley set off for the single, and got through, and he's gone to 2, and Benkenstein has to strike with 11.
Yes, and I think Critchley was rather strolling, so when Leas Deploy did get it, he had a shy at the stumps, which I don't think missed by a huge amount.
Middlesex in their garish pink outfits, Essex predominantly blue, and this is hit, oh, that's away and away to deep square leg. Could it be another brilliant catch? I tell you what, if that's been taken, that's the catch of the day. That's astonishing.
What a
huge
catch!
Hit. And a brilliant catch at deep square leg. I tell you what, Middlesex are holding their catches here in phenomenal fashion. Benkenstein out for 11. I thought initially that was going to clear the boundary and head into the spectators down in the seats in front of the stand. But that is a sensational piece of work. And I tell you what, it's catching out of this world from Middlesex. It was a good connection. That was a reasonable percentage shot from Benkenstein, and he was completing a run, and then his head was thrown back as he saw the fielder was there, but he still had to take the catch.
It's Matt Boyle, and it is something else. I thought that Tom Helm catch was astonishing, but he had to sprint around the boundary and then dive full length and managed to grab hold of it. It was such a catch. I hate to mention channels, but if you can find it on a replay somewhere later on today, please watch that.
Yeah.
That is something else. You won't see many better catches than that.
Well, I'll
this
tell you
season.
what, they've all been pretty good, and that I wouldn't want to criticise Benkenstein too much. There, it's a reasonable percentage risk. I think he probably was thinking the fielder's not going to get to that.
And he probably thought when he first hit it, it was a 6.
Yeah, which is what I thought. And suddenly, he came into the equation. Well, what a brilliant catch that really was. 55 for 5 in the 11th over. Who would have thought this? There's somebody who's got an Essex women, Middlesex men double who's planning their retirement tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
Holman is going to bowl. After an inauspicious first over, he's got 2 for 18 in 2 overs and 2 balls, and it's 55 for 5.
It was actually De Carey's with the catch.
Harmer
I apologise.
is going to be on strike a little bit earlier than he'd like to, and it goes up towards cover, and there's no run. So basically there's no Fernandez today, with called Jordan Cox coming back. So Harmer batting at 7, Snape at 8, Acton 9. It's a longish tail, although certainly the first 2 or 3 of those can really contribute. Harmer, who's not really part of the tail, to be honest, he's a better batter than that, drives it up towards long on for a single, but he is going to have to play a major T20 innings here now. He was in dazzling form against Crocombe and others at the end on Friday night, but this is a different kettle of fish. 56 for 5 in the 11th over.
Yes,
I can't think that would have been complacency, but that was such a huge win for Essex, combined with Kent's defeat, combined with the Surrey defeat last night, as this is hit away down the ground without timing here by Critchley, and it goes up towards extra cover and there's no run.
Look at the fielding everywhere now. Terrific stop by Deploy.
56 for 5. The sun has momentarily gone in, but it's a nice afternoon, whereas it's probably going to be a bit too hot the next few days. But, well, as you've mentioned, Middlesex have upset the apple cart here before. I mean, it's looking like that at the moment. Still plenty of time to go as this is just driven away off the back foot down towards deep cover. I would say, though, that Zaman Akhtar has proven himself in his career with Gloucestershire. He's a useful batter, and Shane Snater is a good low-order hitter. But you just get the feeling, Guy, these two are going to have to bat for the next 5 or 6 overs and build something for Essex to try and get this score up towards, well, I'm going to say 150, 160 tops at the moment. Who knows, it could be better than that, but 57 for 5 after 11 overs, an awful lot of work to do. Harmer 1 and Critchley 3.
Well, particularly Zafar Gohar's got 2 overs left and Holman's got 1. There's been 10 runs from the last 4 overs. That's you'd be thrown out of the England Test team for scoring that slowly. So Zafar Gohar to continue, left arm round the wicket, firing it in, and he can't quite stop the ball off his own bowling, so Critchley will force the ball through for a single. Luke Holman up at mid-on does the fielding.
Might be the ball is just gripping a bit for the spinners, and of course there's Benkenstein, Harmer, Critchley, but they've got to get a reasonable score on the board, and I would have thought they must be thinking 160.
Well, it'd be interesting if the spinners are going this well. They might. Josh De Carey's, who took that fabulous catch, I apologise to him because I gave it to Matt Boyle, but it was Josh De Carey's. He could also a decent spinner, so it could be that they keep the spin pressure on as in again, and that's attempted to force it down the leg side. I'm not sure it came off anything at all. Yes, it did. It got a little bit of bat on it, so it will be another single, but not very much bat. And 2 singles, so Zafar Gohar, if he carries on, will now bowl 4 dot balls, or will this be the most expensive over he's bowled? It will, because it's pushed up 2 long off, and they trot through for another single, so 3 successive singles so far.
I mean, if you think worst case scenario for us, I mean, if Kent lose and Essex lose today, it's not the end of the world, but they'll still have to. There'll be a bit of work to do.
Fired in, and there's a big LB shout, and Zafar does like an LB shout, it must be said. He's got a point My word, just watching that again, he may have had a half-decent argument, but the umpire thinks it was going to turn past the stumps. He may have a point, but Zafar does love appealing. In once again, and that's just flicked to mid-wicket, and there is no run. So back-to-back dot balls.
It would be the ultimate turnaround for Kent if they were to win at Southampton and Essex were to lose to Middlesex after what happened on Friday night, when it looked as though that whole campaign had sort of ground to a halt.
And this is swung away, but they've got a man on the 45 in that third man position, and it's another dot ball. So Zafar Gohar's now bowled 3 overs for 7 in a T20. It's 60 for 5 after 12, which means the run rate currently is 5 and over.
Leaders in the North Group, Notts Outlaws, who started off poorly and then have strung together a series of wins, 166 for 8 against Durham in that one. So Durham are down in 4th place, and Notts the leaders. Second place Yorkshire on 22 points, made 207 for 4 against Leicestershire, who are 102 for 4 in reply in the 11th over. So that's a high scoring game at Headingley. And here's Holman to bowl again, and this is a reverse sweep, and there's an appeal out going on the reverse sweep. Critchley has been given out, and it wasn't the most wholehearted of appeals, but that is a 6th wicket, and this astonishing Essex innings, which nobody could have forecast, particularly in the light of what happened on this pitch a little bit earlier today with that run fest between Surrey and Essex. And I think it's caught behind, been given out.
It's caught behind, yeah.
Rather than LBW. Yes, so as you can see there,
yeah.
Because it's come off the bat and gone through to the keeper. Good take actually, because it was a reverse sweep attempted, and it hasn't hit the pad. It's just come off a little bit of the bat and gone through to the keeper. Well, this is a quite astonishing turn of events. 60 for 6. And now it's Harmer and Snater together. The problem is it's only the 13th over. I mean, Snater comes off as he has done a couple of times recently, notably on Wednesday night. But how will he play?
Yeah, you were talking about 150 earlier, Nick. I think if they get to 120, they'll be
pretty
pleased
good
at the moment.
Although if Snater plays his natural game and it comes off, anything could happen.
But that's 13 runs in the last 5 overs.
Astonishing. I mean, Holman's first over wasn't exactly.
He went for 14.
Yeah. And here he is with 3 for 20 in 3 overs and 1 ball. Yeah. So definitely, caught behind. He's going on the reverse sweep and just got a little bit of a bat on it. Taken by the keeper, just obviously out of our sight. The appeal wasn't completely convincing, but the umpire's certain. And that's just played defensively by Snater. Back down the pitch and there's no run, but a really quite astonishing turn of events. 60 for 6. Essex put into bat. They would have been quite happy to bat themselves. And it's amazing, this group. That could be another wicket. It is, and that is another caught behind. It's a forcing shot attempted by Snater, who decided he was going to attack. He's gone on to the back foot. Holman has got 4 wickets. It's another catch for Cracknell. And it is 60 for 7 in the 13th over. This is absolutely astonishing. I mean, quite what has caused this is very difficult to fathom. But I'll tell you what, Middlesex have bowled and fielded exceptionally well.
Yeah, 2 blindingly good catches and 1 pretty exceptional one. And they've just kept the pressure on. And the fact that Pepper went early and Jordan Cox went early, I think, undermined everything. And since then, trying to force it, and I have to also say, everything is going right for Middlesex.
Yes.
Everything. They've caught everything. They've got all the decisions. Everything is going their way at the moment. And Luke Holman's returning to the kind of form that we've got used to over the last 2 years in the T20.
Arguably Essex are playing the extra bowler in this game, but they could probably do with extra batter. Here's Holman bowling to Zaman Akhtar, and that's another useful delivery, which, tell you what, if Zaman Akhtar had not got a bat onto that could have been a big LBW shout. 60 for 7 in the 13th over.
He was gone for all money
yeah.
if he hadn't got a bat on that.
4 for 20 in the 4th over. Yes, this is it goes bat onto pad. Had there been a short leg, that would have been the 8th wicket, but there isn't. Although Middlesex might be thinking they could put in a short leg at this point. It's a terrific response this from Holman after that first over. 4 for 20 with 1 ball left of his 4th over.
Double wicket maiden if this isn't scored off.
Yes, this is driven away along the ground up towards mid-off. So it is strange, isn't it? I mean, the Essex defeat against Northants felt fairly cataclysmic. It was so severe. But then, of course, as we've mentioned, all the South Group teams have been beaten out of sight in the cross-pool games against the Central and West Group. So there's nothing. It almost didn't matter, that game. And then, of course, on Wednesday there was a narrow defeat to Surrey. And on Friday and Saturday, the last 2 days, it's all gone Essex's way. The win at Hove, the huge defeat for Kent, the defeat for Surrey, and now suddenly it's all turning around again. It's a very, very difficult group to read this. 61 for 7 after 13 overs.
Well, Zafar Gohar coming in. I'll give you Luke Coleman's figures after Zafar's first ball. He gives that now, feels he can give it a bit of air, and that's pushed up to long off for a single by Akhtar. Yes, Luke Holman, who went for 14, remember, in his first over, has finished with 4 overs, 4 for 21. So he only conceded another 7 in his next 3 overs and took 4 wickets. I think he owes Zafar Gohar a soft drink after that, because Gohar was the one who put the brakes on at the other end and doesn't have a wicket himself yet.
The other problem for Essex is, having sorted their net run rate out in spectacular fashion at Hove, particularly as against Kent, it could all reverse today.
And that's just helped into the leg side. There might actually be 2 if they go quickly, but they didn't go quickly, so it is only 1.
What a strange day's cricket we've seen. I think we both thought that Surrey had got enough runs at 184 in the women's game, and what we've seen since has been quite astonishing.
63 for 7 if you're
very different Essex batting performances, one by the women, who got home with 9 wickets to spare and 5 balls, and not so good for the men so far.
Zafar Gohar gives that some air, and it's a good reverse sweep, but there is a man out for it, so they'll only get the single. Decent fielding out in the deep. And Zafar Gohar gone for 3 singles. He's got 2 balls left of his spell. Currently no wicket for 10. Hasn't conceded a boundary. Fires that in. That could be a wide. It is a wide.
And there have been very few of those, haven't there? So it's been a very disciplined bowling performance by Middlesex. I just wonder whether there's been a bit of a team. See the amount of support that the bowler's being given. It's been, by the captain. He's been doing that all the time, deployed. It's as if there's been some sort of get-together, and the effects of that are being shown.
And that's helped into the leg side, and will certainly be one. They start quickly this time, looking possibly for 2, but Harmer has to settle for 1, and this is a hugely expensive over from Zafar so far. He's gone for 5 so far. 1 ball left if he doesn't bowl another wide. And he's conceded double figures now in his 4 overs. And that is a dot ball to finish, which I think is only right and proper. And he concedes 5 runs off his final over, and has the ridiculous figures in T20 of 4 overs, no maidens, none for 12. He's gone for 3 and over.
Well, it's been a strange old day. It really has. And is there a way back into this game for Essex? The problem now is, obviously, Akhtar's got a little bit of batting credentials that was shown for Gloucestershire and indeed for Essex. Harmer, we know, is in very good form this season with the bat. Sam Cook, obviously, he's actually improved as a batter, Sam Cook, but I don't think he wants to be playing a major role with a bat in this game. He'd like to have something to bowl at. Mackenzie Jones, a little bit of an unknown quantity at this level in T20 with the bat. But astonishing stuff. Boyle bowls, and this is played away up towards deep mid-wicket. They're thinking of a second. Oh, there mustn't be a run out. Goodness me. The bails are whipped off. They were thinking of a second. Harmer got back. Goodness me. So Boyle has come on with more spin, this time from the Alistair Cook end.
Good decision from Deploy.
Yeah, just to keep the spin options going. It's fair to say Spinner's done okay, so he's got no reason to. But Harmer will be thinking, if only I've got something to bowl at here.
This is
Here comes a beauty. Now that turned. That's a lovely piece of bowling, and that's beaten Actor outside the off stump on the forward shot.
Harmer might be licking his lips watching this at the
He just
moment.
hasn't got the runs at the moment. That's the problem. Surely, as this is a sweep across the line. Goodness me, it probably would have hit him outside the line, and he might have been saved by that on an
Long way
LBW.
outside,
But yeah, certainly a bit ambitious. And Boyler's almost carried off where Holman sort of left off, really. So there's another reverse sweep here. He gets it away for at least one out towards deep point. What a remarkable series of events this is. Essex, seemingly with a fairly straightforward fixture in front of them, against the side of only won one game, are 68 for 7, having been sent in. It's the 15th over, as this is played defensively up into the onside towards Holman at long on moving in. One more run for Harmer, and of course the crazy thing is we've just seen a game where Surrey women made 184 and we're probably 10 to 15 runs short on the same pitch. Pitches can change character in the sunshine, can't they? Quite quickly. That's a shorter one. That could be a stumping, and it is. And it wasn't a great delivery that from Boyle. It was a pretty loose shot from Actor, who threw his bat at it, came down the pitch, missed it, and Cracknell has whipped off the bails. So it's 69 for 8. Well, we're talking about Actor's got a reasonable record with the bat, and he was flourishing the other day, there's no doubt about that, in rather different circumstances and on a different pitch against Surrey. But that was a little bit of a wild attempt there. He was nowhere near the ball really with foot movement, looking to try and flay the ball away through the offside. He was well out of his ground. Nice piece of stumping. 69 for 8. And, well, it really is quite remarkable. I mean, as I say, it's not the end of the world for Essex if they lose this game. They could do probably with Kent losing as well, but it just complicates things in terms of, particularly if they have a massive hit on the net run rate in terms of whether third will be good enough, because no one was expecting this.
Well, yeah, certainly no one who supports Middlesex was expecting this. And Matt Boyle, whose only other over in this competition went for 14, has figures of 1 for 3 from his over there, and I think that was give him a slight credit for that. I think he knew the guy was was stepping away to leg. He fired it down as wide as he could down the offside, and in the end, Actor was out by a country mile. Good work from Cracknell, as that's driven sweetly by Harmer out into the covers, but there's a man out in the boundary.
Well, Harmer must be, he's in good batting form this season. He showed it at the Hove, of course. And 129 runs. His strike rate is 182 runs per 100 balls, which I think is top of the Essex list in terms of speed of scoring by anyone who's played any number of games, any reasonable number of games. But it's not going to be that sort of innings for him. He's got to try and scramble the 50 runs here with Mackenzie Jones and Sam Cook.
Yeah, and 15 overs with 2 wickets to go. And yeah, Tom Helm into the attack, and I think that's quite a good, clever idea. He's been, in a difficult season, Middlesex's main man, and he has Cook up on his toes. He can only play it out into the... Mackenzie Jones up on his toes, who can only push it out into the covers, and there is no run. Lewis Deploy does the fielding. We've got a backward point, extra cover, and mid-wicket. They're the kind of closest fielders. Wicket-keeper's a long way back, and that's just helped round. And there's a slight misfield, which the crowd enjoy enormously. They've had very little else to celebrate such far from Sharma. For a minute, I think they were worried that the ball hadn't been kept down by Harmer and might carry. It didn't. So a single was taken down to deep, fine leg.
Some brilliant catching earlier from Middlesex, really was.
And that is just smacked. And it gone for 6.
And it's probably gone through the fielder's hands. Might be the first fielding mistake.
Well, I don't think that Max Holden, in fairness, even if he'd held on to it, would have been able to stop the 6, because I think he'd have gone over it as well. And that, well done, Simon Harmer. But even then, Middlesex nearly take another wonderful catch. Watch Josh Carey's catch on the highlights. Please do. It was sensational. Tom Helms was, I thought, was going to be the best catch of the day, but it's now second. And Leas Deploy made a very difficult catch look very easy at mid-off, and they take another single. Probably
too late, but Somerset have found a bit of form with the bat against the unbeaten Northants. 223 for 4. 57 from 30 balls for Tom Rue. And Daniel Sams, remember him from his Essex days, 48 from 16.
Wow, that's going.
He played a few of those for Essex as well.
Helm in, and that's a beautiful delivery, and not only does it deceive the bowler, the batsman, it deceives the wicketkeeper. Joe Cracknell completely thrown by that change of pace, and they run through for a bye. And that's the end of the over. I thought there was one more ball to come, but there isn't.
Well, I've not seen much of Mackenzie Jones batting. I think Middlesex will trade that run because it means that Mackenzie Jones is on strike. They obviously, the one real threat to them left, I guess, is Harmer, hitting a few off the middle and getting the score up to about 130, but that's still quite a long way away. We're into the 17th over, 79 for 8. You're not hearing things. This is, I say, it has been bizarre how the leading pack in this group, a top 4 basically, big swings of momentum. Boyle bowls. That's played up into the offside, and there is no chance of more than one, but it does get Mackenzie Jones off strike. He played a nice stroke to get Harmer back on strike, which has to be his job, and did that very well. So, Harmer, what can he do here against Boyle? He wants to try and bat, obviously, as much of these overs as he can. There's 23 balls left. 77 for 8. As trying to swing that across the line, that's a wide. So ironic cheer for the 80 coming up for Essex with a wide. But anything going the Essex way they'll take at the moment. That's driven away, nice looking shot away up towards long off, and that will be another single. So be interesting to see how Mackenzie Jones going to quit himself here. Is he going to try and play big shots? I think more sensibly, he just needs to keep rotating the strike, I would have thought, at this stage.
Absolutely.
Be a better idea.
Just finish the 20 overs and see where you are.
Yeah, try and bat through as much as possible. Driven away up towards long off for a single. It's a good shot. Gets the one, but it was a nice stroke. Played away along the ground. And could have done with a few more along the ground earlier on from an Essex perspective. They might just consider themselves very unlucky for the quality of the catching, but I think Benkenstein would be the one candidate who could genuinely say that, as it's hit with no power by Harmer, but just for a single. But what a strange game this has turned out to be from what would have been anticipated. I think most people, particularly anyone that saw the women's match, would be thinking, well, Essex should get 200 here, and then 84 for 8. This is hit away nicely. That's one of the best shots of the day, actually. It's not a 4, but it's just a nice controlled stroke off the back foot through the infield, down to deep backward point for a single. And Mackenzie Jones acquitting himself pretty well. He's gone to 4. Harmer is on strike with 16, and it's 85 for 8. That one's just slightly flatter, and that's good shot from Mackenzie Jones. It's allowed Harmer a ball to face to get a boundary, and that's sensible cricket from that pair. Nice rotation of a strike from Mackenzie Jones, and then Harmer got one that was short, and he's pulled it down to a deep square leg boundary for 4, and that is 89 for 8 at the end of the over. Well, Harmer as I say, he's sort of fighting a lone hand at the moment, but he's on 20 from 17 balls. He must be trying to get a figure in mind that just gives him and the other spinners a chance here, but surely they're still a long way adrift of it. However, Middlesex didn't make many more than this at Richmond last week, so that's one thing that might be considered. Jones is batting well, 4, Harmer 20, 89 for 8, 3 to go.
Absolutely. Well, I'm trying to see who's... I think it's Sharma coming into the attack for what would be his final over. Is it Seb Morgan? It's Seb Morgan.
We mentioned that Middlesex win last year. Another one to mention, 2013 in the South Division between these two sides. Essex, 74 all out.
I wonder who the bowlers were that day as Seb Morgan comes charging in, and that will be a wide after a little bit of consideration from the umpire.
Well, it's somebody called Mills, who's of course much more associated with other counties, but it was Kyle Mills, New Zealander.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Who took 3 for 4 in 3 overs. That's pretty useful in a T20 game.
He's played in for his country as well, I'm pretty certain, Carl.
Middlesex knocked them off inside 10 overs with 8 wickets in hand.
Things can still go wrong. Middlesex fans know that, as it's batted out to the deep cover fielder and they trot through for a single.
I mean, I wasn't particularly following the game at Richmond last week, but when I saw the result, I just feel so sorry for the loyal Middlesex fans who are going to the outgrounds. Some of them might have decent, journeys through suburban London to get there, and to see a performance like that.
Yes.
And maybe if they're watching or listening to us this afternoon, then there'll be a bit more cheer.
Seb Morgan races in once again, and that's a cracking... Well, that's really good cricket, because that was an excellent Yorker that Harmer did really well to dig out, but he didn't just dig it out, he flicked it through mid-wicket long-on area for 4. Stunning shot.
It really has been, it's been a great season with the bat for Simon Harmer.
It was a really good ball.
Across formats, yeah.
And he just,
if he needed to, he could bat at 7 in a championship side.
Well, he's holding his team together currently, and that's going to be 4 more. Poor old Seb Morgan, despite not bowling badly, they've obviously targeted him. We saw 3 consecutive boundaries off the bat of Paul Walter in his first over, and now we've had consecutive back-to-back boundaries from Simon Harmer.
What will the cheer be like after the next run at 99 for 8? Will it be a genuine cheer for the 100, or an ironic one, or a mix of the two?
A bit of both, I think. Relief to have reached 100 from 60 for 7.
It's about 120 odd they made last week, Middlesex, I think it was.
And these two put on 30 now. And that is cuffed away for 4 more. Short and wide, and Morgan just losing his way a bit there. The previous 2 deliveries had all been down to the batting, but that was down to the bowling.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a very good partnership, because I think Mackenzie Jones, sitting there on 5 from 7 balls, has thoroughly played his part, actually.
Couldn't agree more.
With the singles he's taken, he's played some nice strokes, and he's managed to get Harmer on strike here against perhaps the inexperienced bowler that Harmer could target. So really all credit from absolute ashes here in this innings. At least we've got a bit of strategy, we've got some sensible play, and Harmer and Mackenzie Jones have done really very well.
He's in once again, Morgan, and that's smashed away again by Harmer. I don't think this will be another boundary, but it will be 2. Just good running. Very good running by Mackenzie Jones, who had to go to the danger area, and the crowd, who haven't really enjoyed the last 10-12 overs very much, are finally being able to let some of the emotion go.
The only other match in this group, Hampshire 190 for 3, 20 overs against Kent. Vince 63, Weatherly 61 not out from 47 balls.
Seb Morgan. And that's driven sweetly. And it's a misfield by Zafar Gohar, and it'll be another 4. Well, and Middlesex, we were always, if you're a Middlesex fan, worried that they'd find new and interesting ways to throw away this position. That over from Seb Morgan was very close to it. Sadly, all the screens around me are down. I can't actually make out what the score is.
It is 109 for 8.
Thank you. So there were 20 off that over.
And the good news for Essex, if they get another 10, that's more than Middlesex managed last week against Durham. So it might be enough.
But in that 109 in 18 overs, 33 of them have come off 2 from Seb Morgan.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Seb Morgan, but it underlines perhaps that the rest of the bowlers have done very well indeed, particularly the spinners, and also that they've been backed up by some superb catching.
Well, Tom Helm will bowl out his 4 overs. Interestingly, his last one will be from the Sir Alistair Cook end.
So here it is. Comes in to bowl. Well pitched up, driven nicely along the ground by Mackenzie Jones for a single. And he's shown good common sense. I haven't seen much of him bat, but a nice common sense approach. He's hit virtually everything along the ground. He played one very nice stroke through the offside a couple of overs ago. And what he's doing is, off most deliveries he's facing, he's getting a single and putting Harmer back on strike. 110 for 8. He's gone to 6.
This is the first time he's batted in a T20 match.
Partly why I haven't seen much of him.
No,
but,
exactly.
It's been encouraging, although he's got a lot of work to do with the ball later on to get Essex into contention, as here Harmer on the drive sends it straight to mid-off and there's no run. So Helm in his 4th over, number 17. But Holman, I guess, takes the star billing for what he did after his first expensive over. Quite an extraordinary comeback on a pitch that you would have thought must be turning square from just looking at his figures in his 3 final overs. But it's the same pitch that was a real run fest on the women's game earlier on. There's a short third, a straight cover and a mid-off on the offside. There's a big gap at mid-on. There's a long on. He'll ensure there's no more than 1 run here. So Harmer's happy, I'm sure. We trust Mackenzie Jones, or the way Mackenzie Jones is batting here. Can Essex possibly get up to 130? And then if you make a good start, anything's possible. But normally that sort of score at Chelmsford is don't even bother to come out to field. I mean, it's way below what you normally expect. Here is Helm bowling, and Mackenzie Jones here. Well, he gets a single. It's not the most convincing shot he's tried to play. He's looking to try and hit it away into the onside. He's just taken his pad. But again, he's managed to rotate the strike. And I guess what Essex would like is to get Harmer on strike for the start of the last over. There's 2 balls left of the 19th. Our screen is stuck in the 16th over at the moment.
I know, there's a Middlesex, 77 for 8.
Yeah.
Middlesex would have liked it to stay there as well.
But it's still an overwhelmingly strong position for the visitors. Helm comes into bowl, and that's pulled away. That's a savage shot up towards deep mid wicket and over. And Essex supporters relieved that just for once a ball has cleanly cleared the boundary fielders for Middlesex. Because just for a moment Harmer might have been thinking, oh no, this is another one that's could be held out. But he's had a couple of, he had one narrow escape to long off. That one was actually a much cleaner blow over deep mid wicket for 6. And now if he gets the single, he'll face the last over. And what a performance this has been from Simon Harmer, 45 from 25.
That's just ludicrous.
There's Helm up to the wicket, bowls. It's full toss, he hits it away in the air. Probably he's going to get 4 actually. It's going up towards the long off boundary. So Mackenzie Jones will be on strike, but Essex will probably settle for the 8 runs that Harmer got there. It's just been an innings of great common sense from Simon Harmer, in a position of absolute hopelessness.
So he's on 49 and the score is now 100 and... trying to make it out on the scoreboard.
It's 118 for 8.
118
so
for 8.
Tying what Durham got last
I
Sunday.
think it's more than that, because they took 10 off the last 2 overs.
Don't say we've got other scoreboard.
10 off the last 2 balls.
We'll have to wait for that to be updated. We'll.
I think it's 122.
Yeah, I think it's 122. It's 122. It hasn't been updated. They haven't taken account of the second 4. I reckon it's 122 for 8, and Harmer is on 49.
Yes, exactly. So we've had 13 off that Tom Helm over, so he finishes with... His first went for 3, the second for 4, then 10 and 13, so none for 30 from his 4 overs.
Well, Essex, who were 52 for 3, then 69 for 8, have almost doubled the score with a 9th wicket partnership.
Yes,
Mackenzie Jones deserves an awful lot of credit.
The 50 partnership has come up as well, I think. and it will be Sharma who bowls the last over and has just been smashed back over his head by said Mackenzie Jones for 4 to the huge enjoyment. Well, when you mentioned 130 after the 17th over, I was going not a chance.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what Harmer can do. I mean, he is really in good batting form.
But they've scored 36 since the 17th over.
But it's Mackenzie Jones who's, he's been so important to Harmer.
Absolutely. He hoiks that into the leg side, and they get the 1. Maybe there were 2 there, but Harmer's on 49 and is the main batter.
And to be fair, I mean, they've left Fernandez out. They've gone batter for batter, but if they played Fernandez instead of, say, Mackenzie Jones, Mackenzie Jones, Fernandez hasn't been in particularly good form, and Mackenzie Jones has looked very good here. But I mean, it's not a turnaround, but it's a bit of respectability, isn't it? I'll tell you what, if Essex get early wickets, the crowd is going to be very much up here, aren't they?
These two have put on 58, of which Jones has 11, and they've done it in no time at all.
And Mackenzie Jones has played really well, but Harmer it's just been
sensation.
It's just been a brilliant performance.
49
from him, really.
of 26, 6 4s.
And he'll be hoping it's an all-round performance today.
Yes, well, he saw some turn earlier when the spinners were virtually unplayable. Sharma's in again, and this is launched. This is 6 more. What a way to bring up his 50. And Sharma, who had only given away 13 runs in his first 3 overs, has given away 11 in his first 3 balls. And the applause you hear is for Simon Harmer's unbelievable 50 given the situation. He has 50 from 27 balls, 6 4s and 3 6s.
And he's at least giving his side a reasonable chance. I thought I mentioned 140 earlier, 140, 100. It probably won't get that high, but I mean it has been a tremendous partnership which has doubled the score all but. And Simon Harmer deserves immense credit. To be knocked over for 80 or so today and lose by 7 or 8 wickets has been pretty demoralising. When Essex supporters must have thought they've done the hard work, and others have helped them, like Worcestershire
69 for 8.
Gloucestershire
69 for 8.
Yeah, and they've still got a chance of actually even winning this game, and that would have been out of the question.
So they're
half an hour ago.
133 for 5 with 3 balls remaining. Sharma. Oh, it's a good ball. It's a good Yorker. He had to dig it out. Sharma to Harmer, and just gets the 1.
If he can get past 55, which he's on, he's actually gone to 56.
He's 56 now.
So that, I reckon, is his best T20 individual score. Simon Harmer was previously 55. See if we can find out who
Yes,
that
it is.
against.
It is 55, absolutely. So this is Simon Harmer's best ever T20 score. In how many matches has he played in this format? 228.
Plenty, yeah.
And this is his 228th T20. Sharma in, and that's bullied away, and this is more runs, unless it's another blinding catch, which it won't be. It's gone for 4. And Mackenzie Jones, it's gone for 6. Initially the umpire signalled 4, but it made it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this innings from Mackenzie Jones, in terms of the common sense, the application, the support for Simon Harmer, has been absolutely exemplary. He's obviously got a bit of freedom now, with still 1 wicket left to play his shots, but I tell you what, he's done okay in his outing in T20. The wickets he got at home, and now this knock.
Well, these two have put on 71.
Yeah, they doubled the score. Plus.
In the last 4 or 5 overs, and that's pulled out into the leg side. It should only be 2, and is only 2, but it was still a very expensive last over. So how many have they got in the end? 142 off the last ball.
142.
142.
It shouldn't be enough, but Middlesex are not used to winning, and there's the danger here that they could lose the unlosable game from 69 for 8.
Well, having seen them bat recently,
Yeah.
I'd have thought they'd get 100. 143? It's an ask.
It's been it's been quite a remarkable day here at Chelmsford. I have to be. You weren't with us earlier. I mean, the Essex women produced the top three produced the most outstanding batting performance to steamroll a strong Surrey side by 9 wickets with 5 balls to spare. And now Essex men have recovered from 69 for 8 to 142 for 8 thanks to Harmer 56, a best in T20, and Jones 19. And Mackenzie Jones, as I say, deserves all the credit. And we've got actually a live game on our hands on a pitch that is certainly helping the spinners, and Essex have got 3 plus. Wow, I mean, what a day it has been, and where does it go from here? We shall find out in the next 10 minutes or so when play resumes, but at least the crowd here, some of them might have been thinking, I might make my way home just in case they bring that World Cup match forward again to 7 o'clock. But no, they haven't done that. They're staying put, and it's really quite intriguing.
Just mention Luke Holman 4 for 21 and Zafar Gohar none for 12 from 4 overs.
And there was a period in the middle of the game where Essex were going absolutely nowhere in terms of runs, wasn't there?
They scored 9, 10, 14, 19 from 7 overs.
Yeah, which in a T20 match is extraordinary. But what a change in the last 4 overs. Well done, Harmer and Mackenzie Jones. We do at least still have a match on here.
We do.
142 for 8, and we're back in about 10 minutes.
Coaching in my life.
What were your non-negotiables? Whether to recruit someone or just anyone that you played with?
Well, I wanted people who wanted to win from 74 win your vote. I know it sounds strange. I never had 5 minutes actual coaching in my life. Never went into nets and said, this is how you play, this is how you do this. Not at all.
Well, welcome back to Chelmsford on BBC Essex and BBC London, also online by the BBC Sport website and app. It's Nick Gledhill and Guy Swindles. We've had a remarkable day here at Chelmsford of unexpected events, unexpected twists and turns, and we've seen a match here which Middlesex had virtually won at Essex 69-8, but now it's back in the balance with 143 as the target now for the visitors to get their second win of the season, and an in-form Essex bowling lineup from Friday night who knocked over Sussex fairly cheaply. I think if they can do the same again here, they'll win the game. So it's anything is possible. But Simon Harmer, with great support from Mackenzie Jones, doubled the score. Simon Harmer's T20 best. It's given a chance for the bowlers. And can Simon Harmer complete a great personal day by masterminding a quite extraordinary victory here? Guy Swindles is with us and we'll pick up the start of the action.
Well, Josh de Carys, who's back into the team for this, he's played 6 blast matches so far. He's averaging 26. He got 80 against Sussex. That was his only 50. And he will face the first ball, which he faces defensively and just pushes back to the bowler. Nice delivery. Keeper is standing up as well, just to stop any Middlesex charging down the pitch.
I think Essex will be fairly alarmed if Middlesex won this game in about 13 or 14 overs. So the big dent in the Essex net run rate, which is quite important at this stage of the competition, shouldn't now happen, whatever happens this afternoon.
Shane Snater then in again, and that's on leg stump and flicked away deep to the man at Deepwood wicket, and they trot through for an easy single. Josh de Carys and indeed Middlesex are off the mark.
But do Middlesex say, this is the 50 over pace target, we shall not be hitting the ball in the air too much, we're going to run the ball around, we're going to find the gaps and play fairly conservatively. We'll see what happens.
Well, the run rate's still over 7 and over,
yeah.
So it's not
absolutely straightforward, but
no.
They might learn a bit of a lesson from the way Essex started. Obviously there were some brilliant catches, but there was also obviously a lot in the air.
Snater coming round the wicket now, and that again is on leg stump and flicked away nicely. Will only be the single though to Matt Boyle. And
England in the World Cup final, the Women's World Cup final, 150 for 4.
Oh, they did well.
Australia 17 for 1, and Lauren Bell has got a wicket in her first over.
So they were 70 for 4, England.
Yeah, so they've done well, England. That's a respectable score. 58 for Nat Shriverd-Brunt.
Yeah.
44 for Freya Kemp.
It's a good fight back. A bit like we have seen from Essex. And that's helped into the leg side and goes all the way for 4. It was in the air for a while, which excited Shane Snater, but it wasn't near enough to any of the fielders to stop the ball making its way to the boundary. So the first time.
I just wonder, Middlesex might say, yes, it is 7 and over. We are going to run the ball around, push the ball around, and not take any undue risks. See what happens.
Well, it would make sense, and they've got the boundary they need from the over.
Yes,
so
particularly once they get the boundary.
They're already on 6.
Because you would say that Essex, I mean, Paul Waters' innings was a bit of an example. He never quite got going. A few flew off the edge, but unfortunately sort of went to the well once too often, whereas, you know, he might have thought to himself, well, it's not really clear off the middle, I'm just going to sort of play fairly conventionally for a couple of overs and then I'll be in and then I can get going.
Snater over the wicket to the right-handed de Carys, who drives quite nicely but straight to the fielder, and Mackenzie Jones, who I hadn't realised was quite so tall, does the fielding, and there are 6 off the first over.
Yeah, it's a sensible start from Middlesex, and going to be fascinating to see how they approach this. So one very useful bowler for Essex here, Sam Cook, who had a reasonably good outing the other night on his return, taking 4 for 7. Coming back for the latter stages of the T20 tournament. It's a good time for him to come back as he comes in to bowl here, and that's run down nicely down to backward point. No run, good stop actually, which makes sure, Sally Addison, that there's no additional runs there for Boyle. But Sam Cook, at one point, Essex didn't appear to be unduly missing him, but you always are eventually going to miss someone of his quality. And I'll tell you what, when they played Nottinghamshire in the Championship here, in particular, and arguably to a certain extent the Leicestershire second innings at Leicester, they really missed him. Cook comes in to bowl. This is played up into the offside and there's no run. Because when he's in the side and when you've got Porter, Snater and Cook all firing, Essex can almost have a different, that's more or less all they need in the seam bowling department on a typical Chelmsford wicket. But they found actually that without him, it just made a big difference, and greater workload on the other two, particularly at Leicester. They were quite tired when they came into the Nottinghamshire Championship match. And of course Knott's got a lot of runs, and it just showed how much he was missed. But he's stormed back into action, and here he bowls one which is just short of a length, and it's pull driven for 4. Good shot from Boyle, seized onto it, slightly short from Cook, and put away through the onside for 4. So ball goes to 5. No real risk in that shot. Dakar is 5. 10 for no wicket. And we'll see if my thought that Middlesex are going to try and play risk-free cricket will be borne out, or whether they're going to knock one straight up in the air in a minute. But I would have thought that needs to be the approach. They don't want to get bogged down. That's one thing, though. So it'll be a mix of controlled aggression where they can. Cook with 4 saving 1 on the offside balls, and that one just, I think it's entirely off the pad, goes up into the onside to mid-wicket, and there's Zaman Akhtar, and there's a thought of a quick run, but they decide against it probably quite wisely. So if you have just joined us on a pretty extraordinary day at Chelmsford, a fantastic win for the Essex women earlier, and then Middlesex putting Essex into bat in today's match and getting them 69 for 8, and they recovered to 142 for 8. And now that is the first loose stroke. He's trying to hit that through the covers and didn't make any contact. It's gone through the Cox and there's no run. And the tail for Essex was Pepper 5 and Cox 1. And there was then Paul Walter, who was out for 22. He had got going, but he wasn't middling them particularly. He was out for 22. Allison for 13, Baconstein 11, Critchley 5, and Snater no score, and Zaman Akhtar 4. And it was left to Harmer and Mackenzie Jones to repair the damage, and they did that to impressive extent. It was a quick single up into the onside. Always relatively safe. It was a reasonable percentage run that just pushed to the right hand of mid-wicket, and they get through for 1. But apart from the 4, which was a slightly shorter ball, a good return from Sam Cook. I wonder if it's going to be spin that is the critical factor for Essex here, but it is going to be Shane Snater going to bowl his second over from the Alistair Cook end, with Middlesex fairly uneventful, 11 without loss after 2 overs, chasing 143.
Yeah, pretty solid. Boundary and over. Not trying anything too exceptional. Slightly behind the required run rate, but not excessively so. Again, and that is outside leg stump and has been thumped most impressively by Matt Boyle.
Now here's an interesting scoreline. Kent are Hampshire's bogey side, and they've already beaten them at Canterbury. Now they need 191, and they're 82 for 1 after 7 overs. Zach Crawley is 33 from 16, and Tawanda Muyeye is 38. Good to see him back after the injury sustained in the Essex match. 38 from 19.
Wow. All this is straight up in the air. This could be out or it could be safe. What a catch! What a catch!
He's having a good
Running
day.
backwards, what a day. And that's Mackenzie Jones. Very similar to the Tom Helm catch at the beginning of the Essex innings. He watched the ball go over his head, had to turn, run and catch, and he does so. And whether that was wise from Matt Boyle, I won't go into, but he is gone.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, that was the first break from the let's be sensible policy, and I think the ball is stopping a little bit on this pitch now, and that one was very well taken. There's been some fine catching this afternoon, and it might be that Essex have to take every opportunity that is offered to them, but they've taken that one, and what a good day Mackenzie Jones is having, and doubtless we'll see him bowl a little bit later on. He is one of 3 Essex players, 2 of which playing in this game, who currently have an average of less than 5 with the ball, because Nerthane has that. He took 3 for 11. Mackenzie Jones took 2 for 9 at Hove, and Sam Cook took 4 for 7. So going into this game, they all had an bowling average of less than 5. Though Cooks might be being threatened a bit after that first over.
Yes, quite. Well, 17 for 1. Snater is in again, and bowling 2, Max Holden, who is probably the main man along with Leas Deploy.
Well, it took 4 for 7, so he's still going to have to go for a few to to really be threatened in that respect. But well, they needed a relatively early wicket, and it's taken a good catch to get it, because again, Mackenzie Jones for a while was not favoured to take that catch.
Snater round the wicket to Holden, who flicks it away into the leg side. There's certainly one. If Holden goes for it, there should be 2. He does. He suddenly realised there was a couple, maybe a little lack of communication, but he is off the mark with 2. He has 156 runs coming into this one at just under 20. Again, like so many of them, their high score was against Sussex. He scored 77. That was his only 50 so far this season. He's got T20 hundreds before, so it'd be good if he ran into some form as far as Middlesex are concerned.
Well, Zach Corley's now out at Southampton with Andrew Neil. A famous name, but he's actually a spin bowler who played against Essex down at Southampton. He's taken a wicket, I think, with his first ball. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And if Kent win, it's going to be really bunched up in the top 4.
Snater in. Oh, and there's an edge that I think cannoned through the keeper's gloves, standing up to the pace of Snater. It would have been a heck of a take, but Jordan Cox couldn't do so, and it's a single instead. So there were runs off the over, but there was a wicket taken in amongst. So 20 for 1, 9 off the over.
We won't be able to tell you much about the replays, because the replay screen's on like one of those TV Plus ones where you can watch something that was broadcast an hour ago, because it's currently in the
Yes, we've still got the match summary up.
So hopefully that can be rectified, but you never quite know with these things. Anyway, it is going to be Sam Cook at 20 for 1 who bowls, and that's played with a late adjustment by Holden down towards Walter at short third, and maybe a little bit of concern for Holden there. But he goes to prod the pitch, indicating that one behaved unexpectedly. 156 runs coming into this knot, the leading scorer for Middlesex. The problem for Middlesex, the strike rates of their leading scorers, Dekera's apart, are fairly disappointing. Dekera is doing reasonably well, up around 150. Here's Cook bowling. Oh, that's a loose stroke. He's trying to play that through the covers, and he plays and misses. So we've got a mid-off, a cover, a point, short third, a short fine leg, and a mid-on. And at the moment, yeah, we've got three fielders in the circle on the leg side and 4 on the offside. Cook coming in to bowl, and that's driven away in the air and caught at mid-on. Soft dismissal. Holden is out. It's 20 for 2. And Essex are back in the game, and Sam Cook has done the job. Maybe again that one just held in the surface, but it was a very soft dismissal, just hitting it straight to mid-on, simple catch. And well, Middlesex, who have not been used to winning, are just in a bit of a question mark about whether they could lose the unlosable game here, because 142 was what Essex made, having been 69 for 8, and now it is 20 for 2.
So nothing shot from Holden. He didn't really take it on the attacking shot, checked it the drive effectively, and it ended up being little more than catching practice. So Max Holden, who would have been one of, as I say, the 2 big hopes to see his side home, is in a real spot of bother here.
Wow.
20 for 2.
So it's sort of getting back into the balance, isn't it, this game? I mean, who would have thought that at 69 for 8?
And Jones has 2 catches to go with his batting.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a straightforward one, but the first one was absolutely superb. So here's next delivery, which is bowled to deploy, is now becomes very important, and that one's driven up into the covers, and it is stopped by Michael Pepper, who of course we more customarily see behind the stumps, but Jordan Cox is there, so he's in the outfield, jogging on the spot at the moment. Essex will this is a very odd game, but we're still in it somehow, and we could still yet win it. Here's Cook bowling again. Oh, goodness me. Deploy comes down the pitch. He gets 4 runs, a bit fortuitous, because Walter slightly misjudges it at short third. But he was down the pitch. I think he had a change of mind. I think it's just come off the bottom of the bat and gone through Walter and gone for 4. So 24 for 2.
You give him a little bit more. I'm with you. It was edgy, but he played it with soft hands. And
he seemed to be coming down the pitch and then just checked it. But he got away with it, and he is now, these two are pretty important. DeCaris and Deploy. Deploy on strike on 4, 24 for 2, chasing 143, and he plays a push drive up towards mid-off and doesn't collect a run. So Sam Cook 4 for 7 and 2 for 9 so far in his C20 outings. You can work out the average. It's still very, very good. What do we got? We got 5 wickets for 16 runs? Still averaging around 3. That's okay. 24 for 2. I think slightly worse than his championship average. Slightly better than his championship average. 24 for 2. DeCaris 5 and Deploy 4. Remarkable game here. Essex was 69 for 8. They made 142 without losing any more wickets. Simon Harmer's best ever score of 56 in the competition. Terrific supporting hand from Mackenzie Jones, and now Middlesex 2 down in reply.
Yeah, he's best in any 20 over competition he's played anywhere, remarkably. And that's wide. It was very well taken by the keeper, I have to say, because it was very wide, and he's standing up, and it was snaffled, but slightly loose from Snater, who is now into his 3rd over.
Yeah, it's an important game that for Kent, that one down in Southampton. If they can win it, they really are back in the equation.
And that's cuffed away by DeCaris for 1, but it's a really good bit of fielding to keep them down to 1 out on the boundary.
Just repeat the top of that table. Hampshire 24 points with 3 to play after this. They have a game in hand. Surrey, who lost last night, 20 with 3 to play. Essex 20 with 2 to play, and Kent, who have a negative run rate, not massively but well behind the others, 16 with 2 to play. So that's why this game is very important for Kent, the one in Southampton.
That's punched away nicely. Oh, and that's beaten the fielder as well, and that's just going to run all the way down the hill on this very fast outfield for 4. So lovely timing from Deploy.
Yeah, as has been the case for a lot of the day, the sensible cricket has won out, and there was an awful lot of that from Simon Harmer and Mackenzie Jones, particularly in the early part of their partnership, and that was just a nice orthodox shot, good enough to beat the field.
And we saw that, funnily enough, from the women in the power play earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of 4s, didn't try for the 6s, and that squirts off a thickish outside edge. It's a good stop, but they'll still be able to get 1. It's the man at short 3rd. Sees the ball bounce off his knee, but he stopped it getting through. That was the main thing.
You never know quite what you're going to get, do you, from one of these double headers. I had a feeling today might not be very exciting. I could see 2 games that were probably going to go in one particular direction, but both have offered an awful lot.
Haven't they? And this is just hoiked into the grandstand. Yes, it is. What a shot. And DeCaris has obviously had enough and has been out there for a little while and is seeing the ball pretty well, and has just launched that over cow corner for 6.
Yeah, that was there. That was in the slot, wasn't it? And he played it very nicely.
And he got enough on it, because I'm pretty sure, we can't see for certain, but I'd be surprised if there wasn't a man down there.
England in a spot of bother in the World Cup final. Australia 61 for 1 in the 6th. 1 ball left of the 6th over.
In again now, and that's played defensively, just pushed out into the covers, and why not? You've just scored the 6 you need.
And it's Beth Mooney and Phoebe Litchfield with a good partnership there. So the target is 151 to win the World Cup. Australia definitely favourites, as they have been, well, most of the day and most of the tournament.
Snater turns away from us, runs in once again, right arm over the wicket, and that's punched nicely. There probably was a run on the misfield, but it was a good recovery. I think he hurt himself diving on one of the used wickets, the fielder. But at the end of that over, the score has moved on to 37. So 13 off the over. And a good over as far as Essex are concerned. De Carey's has moved on to 12 from the 9 balls he has faced, deploying 9 from the 5 he has faced. And, well, one more over in the power play to see just how far they can get.
Start of the new over, and a nice stroke away just through the offside, but goes straight to Charlie Allison, intercepts well, probably saves, might even have saved a four because it was so well timed that, but just got in the way of that one from deploy. So Cook continues, he's in his third over, 1 for 9, 37 for 2, we need another 106.
You don't see that very often, do you? The power play is just 2 bowlers.
No, if, I think there's going to be a lot of spin fairly soon.
Yes, quite.
Here's Cook bowling, and this is driven away. That's a fine shot. That really is a very good use of the feet from deploy. This could be the partnership for Middlesex. It's an important one for Essex to break, given that they now need only just over 100 runs to win. It's 102 left. Fine use of the feet, driven down the ground between the bowler and mid-on, and deploy 13 with De Carey's 12, 41 for 2, chasing 143. First result in. And Yorkshire have had a very good campaign, have beaten Leicestershire by 41 runs. The victory set up by Adam Lyth's 131 from 63 balls, with 6 sixes and 16 fours. As this is hit in the air, and that's safe and gone for 4. Fine stroke, just straight of Michael Pepper at cover, and very nicely placed. But we've seen some really fine timing in this over, because the one at the start of the over, which was stopped by Allison, that was very well timed. And now we've seen that 2 have gone to the boundary, and this is just the sort of sensible aggression that Middlesex need at this point after the 2 wickets have gone down. They're still they should be telling themselves they're still in a very good position, needing less than 100 with 8 wickets in hand and 14 overs after this. Cook bowls again. This is clipped away down towards deep square leg. It's not Cook's best over. Benkenstein stops it and throw in as just the 1 run. So 46 for 2. Almost slightly surprised that Cook has bowled a third over at this point, but obviously Harmer has got a plan in his mind about how he can win this game. He's got plenty of spin bowling options. Mackenzie Jones, I'm sure, will get an outing. 46 for 2. Cook's most expensive over has gone for 9 so far, but he's perfectly capable of redressing that with a wicket. He's going to bowl to De Carey's on 12 at 46 for 2 with 97 needed, and that's just run down. And he wasn't quite sure where that was. It's come off the open face and got quite close to off stump, but in the end it's gathered in by Jordan Cox, who had a quiet day with the bat. He was one of the victims of the fine Middlesex catching, out for just the 1. And so he didn't really get much of a chance to make an impression with the bat. But good catch from Helm to get rid of him, as indeed all the Middlesex catches were. Here's Cook again, bowls, and that's a good delivery, and just played with not much pace up to mid-on. Good call and run, that from De Carey. He goes to 13 and 18 to deploy. It's 47 for 2. The target's 143. We've had now the completion of
6
overs. 6 overs, yeah. Just briefly lost it from the ball, but there, 6 overs gone, so 14 remain. Tells us the 14 remain. So what's the asking rate? Well, it's not too bad really. It's around about 7s with 8 wickets in hand. Middlesex should be favourites, but I say they're not particularly used to winning. And Simon Harmer's going to bowl.
Yes, what do they need? They need 96 off 14. So they're in a better position than Essex were at this stage, who were 33 for 3 after the power play. But Harmer saw what the spinners could do earlier and is in, and just short of a length, and punched up to long on. And there's an easy single as Michael Pepper does the fielding.
So Yorkshire, for the time being at least, have gone to the top of the North group. It's Yorkshire and Notts, who made a slow start but have now got back into their typical Nottinghamshire T20 groove after a couple of quiet seasons in the competition. they might go back to the top later.
Well, pulls out of that particular delivery, so the dead ball signal is given. Driven nicely, and it beats the diving point fielder, and there should be two if they go, and they do. De Carey's was very quick off the mark, and he was soon caught up by his captain, who was going to the danger area and got there comfortably, so two more to deploy. Simon Harmer still not quite firing it in as the Essex spinners were earlier. That's more like it, though it's flicked nicely by deploy into the leg side, and happily just takes the single out to deep mid wicket. As Harmer from this Sir Alistair Cook end, it's in again, and that's punched away by De Carey's. They think about two, but then think better of it, and that was the correct decision.
See, Somerset are on top against Northampton. I bet whoever qualifies will very much like to see Somerset not qualify. If Somerset would have gone on a winning run and qualify, you wouldn't bet against them winning the whole thing again.
And that's just played up nicely too long on. It's only another single. Simon Harmer has his head looking to the heavens.
I suspect the damage has been done for Somerset, but it's been a strangely indifferent season for them in their new surroundings in the Central and West Group.
Short, cut away, should be out, is out, and that's a bit daft really from De Carey's. It was a horrible delivery, it was short and wide. He tried to cut it, he got a top edge, and it went to the man on the 45.
Yeah, Walter there. that would have been a great goalkeeper save in a penalty shootout maybe later on this evening. Diving across to his right, taking it both hands, and then making sure he didn't palm it away, which of course wouldn't have been a good idea. But no, that was a goalkeeper style catch, and very well taken. And just when Middlesex appeared to be moving into calmer waters.
Well, again, it was an unnecessary shot.
Yeah.
Or it should have been nailed, more to the point. But anyway, De Carey's goes.
So,
and that was the last ball of the over, so 53 for 3 after 7, 6 off that over.
well, still Middlesex have the edge, but Essex are chipping away in the wickets column. Still 90 required, 13 overs, 7 and over. That's not particularly a problem, but once that wicket column starts to increase, you've got a feeling that deploy, who's played really well, is very important here. So we are going to see more spin, this time from none other than Matt Critchley. Interesting to see if Mackenzie Jones gets a go. It might be that Harmer, he's still got plenty of bowling options, so they might include him. But anyway, Critchley's going to bowl a flatter one. That's a wide outside the leg stump. Deploy wasn't interested in the call of wide. He was thinking, I might be able to hit this out of the ground, but he didn't make any contact. And there is a fielder back at deep backward square leg, so he's probably quite glad he didn't, as this one is played away nicely and very well stopped at square cover. And that's another good stop from Allison, because he saved plenty of runs there with the ball coming at him quickly and getting into line. Anything that goes past him at that rate is going for 4. That was well timed. 54 for 3, chasing 143, and this is again a good stop, this time at cover. Again, pretty well timed, but Simon Harmer, who's having a very good game, was in the way of that one. So just trying to put a little bit of run rate pressure on now, the spinners.
Doing it very well, because they were 2 good shots for nothing.
Yeah, 54 for 3, chasing 143, and this one worked away for at least 1. There's a possible 2 here. It goes out towards long on. They decide against it as long on and deep mid wicket converge on it, and in the end it's a good throw, and they're probably right not to go for the second, but that was just tight for the moment. 55 for 3. So we really are at the business end of this T20 group stage. I say it's a little bit more complicated than in recent years, because you have to work out who's best 2 third place sides and who's the best second place side for the home ties. But the first thing for Essex to do is to try and make sure that at least they finish in the top three. This is driven away without timing here by Geddes. Goes up for a single up towards long on. And we've quite an atmosphere here on Friday evening when Hampshire come down. Now basically Essex's record against Hampshire at Southampton is awful, but it's it varies a bit here. Hampshire have had their days, but it should be a cracking contest. Here's Critchley bowling, and this is played up towards cover, and there's no run. It's been a very good over this from Critchley, just 3 runs. There's 1 ball left, and Essex will be hoping that they can create pressure through bowling a series of tidy overs here. 87 required. This is driven away, goes up towards long on. It is stopped, it goes straight to the fielder, and there is just 1 run. Fine over from Critchley that went for just 4. 57 for 3. The asking rate's just pushing a little bit. There's 12 overs to go, and the target is 143. So it's just starting to push up a little bit now, with 12 overs left. But Middlesex still have 7 wickets in hand.
Well, they're going at 7 and over, and it is the required run rate is still around the 7 and over. So
yeah,
it's going up a little bit, but
84 from 12, isn't it?
Yeah. So I suppose 7/8s, 7/12s are 84. Yeah. So there we go. But that's going to be tricky, as we've seen with the spinners, and particularly with this man Harmer. Nice looking shot from deploy, but not for the first time in the last couple of overs. Straight to a fielder.
It is a game that if Essex were to win from the position they were in, my word, it would be a fillip for their T20 campaign.
On the watch this time, coming down the wicket, but he can't really whip the ball away, and it just goes down to long on for a single. And the right-handed Geddes will now be facing Simon Harmer. Geddes is now ready to face. As, he's bowled in, middle stumps out of the ground. Oh dear, oh dear.
That's turned. This is getting interesting. Wow.
I don't think we've got many questions about who's going to be man of the match if it carries on.
No,
like
Mackenzie
this.
Jones might get a hat-trick and rival, but I'll tell you what,
A bit late now, I think.
That wicket, I think, maybe just gives Essex a slight edge, and even though the asking rate is still within Middlesex's compass, as we have said, Middlesex, if any side are going to lose the unlosable game, unfortunately it probably is Middlesex this season. After all the hard work and all the brilliant catching, maybe Essex are just slightly ahead, and I say, if Essex get out of this, it is going to be quite an achievement, and well, to find yourself in a tight situation, it is the tightest of situations that they got. It was a classic example of never give up, don't just throw it away, and that's really Harmer and Mackenzie Jones, and what they did was a great example of that. Could have been 80 all out, slugging a couple up in the air, but they didn't, and they've given Middlesex something to challenge them.
Yes, and you do fear for Middlesex a bit now. They've lost Holden, they've lost Geddes, 2 of their big batters. Luke Holman and this man, wicketkeeper Joe Cracknell, decent. But then it begins. Zafar Gohar's been in extraordinary form recently, only because he's had to, because everyone else has been so bad above him. But yes, it's you have to say that you fear a bit for Middlesex now, as Harmer is in again, and that's flicked out into the leg side and will be a single.
Well, we did say that once Essex went past 118, they were asking Middlesex to score more than they did last week, and even a simple thing like that, I mean, getting up towards 140, that's more of a challenge, and has been a remarkable fight back by Essex.
Oh, insane. Doubling their total in the last 5 overs, going from 69 for 8 to 142 for 8 in 5 overs. And that's another really good over by Holman. It was a single off the last ball, and while Deploy is still there, there will be hopes for Middlesex. And if Cracknell can stay there for a bit with him, even more so, but certainly Essex have done exactly what they need to do. And just 3 off that over with the wicket as well. So the spinners, just as they did for Middlesex, causing all sorts of problems here.
So it's going to be Critchley again, having bowled a very tiny over for 4. Just, even if he doesn't take a wicket, another over that goes for 4 here would just put that extra little bit of pressure on. As this is just played away into the offside by Cracknell. That gives a strike to Deploy, who's so important now for Middlesex. So the score is 62 for 4. The target is 143. It's 81 away. And we're into the 10th over. So 10 overs and 5 balls left. Pushing this rate required up towards 8, Essex. Here, Deploy has to reach for 1 from Critchley. And then he just play it back to the bowler, who fields in his follow-through.
Yes, an almost mirror image, isn't it, at the moment? The spinners have come on and nothing is happening for the batters.
Critchley, just 5 runs conceded at this point, but this is a big hit, and it's safe, and it's gone for 6, and that's much needed from a Middlesex point of view. Deploy is crucial, and he's picked that up on length, and he's taken on the boundary fielder there, who is Benkenstein, but cleared him easily. It's a brilliant piece of timing, and this is probably the wicket that Middlesex can't afford to lose, and the wicket that Essex need to get. He's on 32 from 22, 68 for 4, and that's damaged Critchley's figures. Here is Critchley again, bowling a flatter one. He picks it up again. It's going up towards the mid-wicket. It could be a possible chance. No, it's cleared the fielder for 6. That was closer to Benkenstein, but it's back-to-back 6s. And Middlesex through Deploy are back in business here. 74 for 4. Extraordinary game, this. They're at the halfway mark, but I think Middlesex probably realising they just can't sort of die wondering here. Deploy has decided, got to try and throw something back at Essex here, and 2 consecutive 6s. 74 for 4, flatter one again. That's going to be a catch, I think. An appeal for a catch is given. 6 out. Cox was confident. There was a long delay before the umpire gave a decision. It was a very wide delivery, and really Deploy wasn't going to get a lot of mileage out of playing at that, because he had to reach the bat to get to it. But once he decided to do it, he just got a feather through to Cox. He was certain that the catch was a good one, and the umpire agreeing, and that in the end is a victory for Critchley. He won't mind the 2 6s for that wicket. 74 for 5. They still need at this point another 69 runs to win, and Middlesex are 74 for 5 in pursuit of 143.
Well, I'm sorry we haven't got the replays on our monitor at the moment, because Deploy, I didn't know whether he looked disappointed because he knew that if he'd let the ball go it would have been a wide, or whether he didn't think he'd hit it. But certainly the wicketkeeper was
Very
absolutely
confident.
certain. So I think it was more the former, and if he'd left it, it would have been a wide. So yeah, it's that you feel is the moment that everything changes, and if it was going to be tough for Middlesex before, well, at least he's got his side halfway there now,
Holman's had a very good day.
and he's batted very well as well.
153 runs in the competition. Critchley is going to bowl to him, and he plays his first one up into the covers, and there's no run. But Essex are saving ones all over the place. Allison's been very good at that. He's saved plenty of runs in the infield, and the catching has been good. And there, Jordan Cox, very confident that there'd been an edge from the bat, and definitely Essex will trade the 2 6s for Deploy's wicket. 74 for 5, 143 is the target, and we are halfway through, 10 overs left, so it has to be said that it's not a demanding target in terms of runs, but 5 wickets are down.
Absolutely, and Harmer to continue. Swept away, nice looking shot, but straight to the deep backward square stroke fine legs. It'll only be a single.
Kent still just about ahead in that game at Southampton, 144 for 4, lead 47 from 5 overs with 6 wickets left. Probably still just about ahead, but that's going to be quite close.
So 75 for 5.
Could be that the top 4 are all bunched within 4 points of each other this evening.
Can Middlesex muck that plan up. That's punched into the covers by Holman for a single. Again, yet another of the lefty batters in the Middlesex lineup. So they've got the right left to continue. Harmer doesn't seem to care who he bowls to. He's got 2 for 12 now in his third over. To go with his career best T20 score earlier on. That's played up to deep mid-off for a single. Long off run and deep mid-off. And Harmer won't mind just a few singles off his over with a run rate still pretty tallish. And that's a old-fashioned forward defensive from Luke Holman. Very county championship.
The old Somerset have turned up today, 223 for 4. They've beaten Northampton by 105 runs at Northampton.
That's their first defeat, isn't it? Oh, and that's on the up, and it's been put down in the covers. It wasn't an entirely easy one for
Akhtar.
Akhtar.
On a day when everyone's been catching the
Akhtar.
chances, you don't want to drop one. And unfortunately, he'd be disappointed to have put that down.
It was rising on him at extra cover, and he just couldn't cling on. And the next ball is swept for 1 by the lucky Holman, who has survived. That is the end of the over. It's another excellent one from Harmer. Don't really have to say that anymore, and it's 78 for 5 after 11. So they're still going along at the 7 and over that they require to win this one. Simon Harmer, though, conceding just the 4 runs and picking up, and he's got the 2 wickets, so he's got 2 for 13 from his 3 overs so far.
Somerset just about keeping themselves alive. You feel that Northampton have done enough anyway, 32 points, but Somerset up to 16 points. Their net run rate will be boosted, and Josh Thomas took 4 for 6, which was a pretty good outing for him with the ball there. So Critchley, 2 overs for 17 in his last over, 6-6 out, and that he would have traded the 2 sixes for the big wicket of Deploy. But here is Holman with probably 4. That's going to beat short third.
Sure.
Forced away, and that's a much needed boundary for Middlesex. Cracknell's a decent bat, so these two, sort of big partnership, they do need to stay together for a while. You feel, Guy, 82 for 5,
absolutely.
61 required.
They've got Zafar Gohar to come, as who I say has really discovered batting in a big way this season. Seb Morgan, who has a first-class 97. Tom Helm, who knows one end of the bat from the other. I don't think they can rely on too much on Navya Sharma, but it's the tail that's going to have to see them home.
61 or 53. That's a sweep and quite well executed. Going down towards the 5-leg boundary. That's going to be back-to-back 4s. Very good placement. And Luke Holman, who's having a very good day, has taken 2 boundaries off the first 2 balls of Critchley's over. Now, the last time that happened, the 2 sixes, Critchley got a wicket. So they'll be hoping that this is going to happen again. But Critchley looking a bit nonplussed by that, but it was really well executed shot to a ball full length on leg stump, and it beat Cook at short fine leg. So 86 for 5, and here he gets one that's just short of a length, and he pulls it out towards Benkenstein and collects a single to deep mid wicket. So good stuff from Holman. He's gone to 11. He gives a strike to Cracknell on 5. 87 for 5. 143 is the target. We're in the 12th.
Well, maybe that drop will come back to haunt Akhtar. Middlesex will certainly be hoping so.
51 balls left. This one is... no, is that a drop? He's reaching for that outside the off stump, and it seems to have hit the glove of Cox and gone to ground. So
it's desperately tough if it
would have been a
was.
very, very tight reflex catch if he has got bat, and I think he did get some bat on it. It's no run, 87 for 5, and this is a very good delivery from Critchley. I think that's quite possibly the googly. It certainly skidded straight on, and it beat him outside the off stump. Good bowling, and Critchley again, as he did in the previous over, coming back into it after a couple of boundaries. 87 for 5, 56 to win. This is well flighted and driven just past the stumps that were non-strikers then. They've got one, they've just jogged the one. They'd really run that fast. There might have been a possibility of a second, but they've just jogged through for the one. And, well, Middlesex looking for some stability here. Need 55 to win. They're 88 for 5, Cracknell 6 and Holman 11. They need a further 55 to win. They have 8 overs in which to get them. The asking rate's not particularly daunting. The wickets column a little bit more of a concern.
Yes, I think you're right. It's well, it's Harmer's final over, which is good news as far as Middlesex are concerned. Two for not many so far. 2 for 14 from his 3 overs.
Yes.
And that is driven straight to extra cover, who makes a nice stop. And every dot ball is being applauded by the Essex fans around us here in the commentary box. In again, and that's just pushed to the same man, extra cover. Further applause greets the dot ball.
Well, it might need South Africa to play 2 spinners in the winter, but of course we do have a South Africa, India, England. I think it's a 4-match test series during the winter, and Harmer would have a chance of competing in that.
It's a quicker delivery, and that's driven straight back to Harmer, who fields it well, if not altogether unpainfully.
Keeping it very tight. He's sustained a bit of a blow there.
Yes.
Remarkable cricketer, Simon Harmer, and the
Isn't
impact
he
he's made
just?
for Essex.
Just extraordinary. 37 now. And
I'll say one thing about him, probably after his ball.
Harmer's right arm round the wicket again. And finally there's a run from this over, as extra cover couldn't field the ball fully.
He's still a bit uncomfortable, Harmer. He's just down his haunches.
He's only got 2 balls left.
But over the years, he's always been a very, very good red ball bowler. But times early in his career for Essex, he could be quite expensive with the white ball. But he learned the skills required and has got better and better. And his batting has also got better and better.
Yes. He is... well, I think Middlesex will just be very glad to see the end of his 4 overs, to be frank.
Yeah.
Just see him off. And that is exactly the way that Luke Coleman is playing him.
Well, it might be worth having a look and see what options Harmer has got now, because obviously we've seen a lot of Cook already. He's bowled 3 overs, so we've got 7 overs left after this, haven't we? So,
and that is a really good way to finish. Just the 1 run from the over. Or was it 2?
so this is quite interesting. There's 7 overs to go. We've only seen
1.
4 bowlers. We've seen Snater, Cook, Harmer and Critchley. So that's interesting in itself. You don't often see that at the 13 over mark.
No. Harmer's figures, 4 overs, 2 for 15. So not quite as parsimonious as Zafar Gohar earlier, but pretty close, and he took 2 wickets.
So it's going to be Zaman Akhtar. I wonder if Mackenzie Jones will get a bowl as well. But there's obviously a little bit of sorting out to do with what's left of the bowling. 1 over left from Snater, 1 from Cook, 1 from Critchley, plus 4 from the 5th bowler, who could be a combination of bowlers. 89 for 5, 54 required in 42 deliveries. Here's Zaman Akhtar coming into bowl, and that's driven away down the ground for a single by Cracknell to go to 8, and it's 90 for 5. So 53 from 41. Harmer 2 for 15 in 4 overs after his T20 best 56. Absolutely superb outing for him. And if he can find a way for Essex to win this game from 69 for 8, he's played certainly the lion's share of doing so. Sam Cook goes back from short fine leg to fine leg on the boundary, and all the one-savers are on the offside. Here's Akhtar bowling. That's a very good delivery therefore, because it's just cramped Holman for room. It can only play it up into the covers, and there is Charlie Allison. 90 for 5, down to the last 40 deliveries. Asking rate still not a problem for Middlesex, but they do need these 2 to stay together.
Yes, the wickets is the problem.
53, 6 overs and 4 balls, 40 deliveries. As this one is just short of a length and pushed into the offside. That's a reasonable calculation of a run, but if he'd hit, yeah, that would have been very, very close. I thought initially that was a reasonable calculation, but the problem was that Cracknell coming to the striker's end looked like he might not get there and beat the throw of Allison, and had Allison's throw hit from about 20 yards, I think that would have been another wicket, and they certainly can't afford a run out at this stage. A very important partnership. 39 balls to go and 52 runs.
Yeah, I'm probably with you, but he had to run round Holman and very nearly that left him in trouble.
Zaman Akhtar, good over this, and this is hit in the air, calculated shot and away to the backward point boundary for 4. Just use the pace there and just the uppercut, if you like, beating the offside ring of 4. Probably Critchley was closest to it, but he would have needed to have been about 10 foot higher to catch it. Good, sensible, calculated aggression there from the relatively experienced Cracknell these days. He's on 12, 95 for 5, 48 required. As Akhtar bowls again, and this is driven away and partially stopped by Critchley on the bounce. They've got 1. It would have been quite a chase round for Benkenstein had it got through Critchley, so he may have saved 3 runs there. And Zaman Akhtar, not a bad over this, 7 runs from it, 5 balls gone, 37 deliveries left and 47 required. An astonishing game. Middlesex had Essex 69 for 8, they made 142 for 8, Harmer 56, supported by Mackenzie Jones. Middlesex have lost wickets regularly, but they need 47 in 37 balls with 5 wickets in hand. The longer these two stay together, I mean, we're almost getting to a stage where we're back in, I think Essex were ahead at one point, Guy. Middlesex are just sneaking their way back towards parity. Here's Zaman Akhtar bowling, and that's run down through the vacant short third gap down to third man on the boundary. Just the 1 run. The longer these two stay together, the more licence they have with 5 wickets left in the last few overs. 97 for 5, 46 required off 6, 36 balls. Cracknell 13, Holman 13. Both at about a run a ball, but doing a good job for Middlesex at this point.
Yeah, 8 off the over, exactly what they require. Harmer has to come out of the attack, so coming into it now is Matt Critchley for his final over, but he'll be bowling it after 3 overs from the Graham Gooch end, from the Sir Alistair Cook end, the old river end. And
2 really good finishes in the South Group. It's a cracking finish at Southampton as well. Kent 160 for 6, needs 31 in 16 deliveries. See, Sonny Baker's taken 2 wickets there.
That's going to be a tough ask. Once it's up to 2 and over, 2 a ball. Anyway, Critchley is in, and that's swept away, and it's a wide. There were appeals for caught behind, which Jordan Cox is still appealing for.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as convincing as the earlier one.
No. I think it's a wide, so I better do something. Appeal, and maybe he'll forget to give it. He didn't, the umpire. Coaxed away into the covers for just the single for Luke Coleman.
Hope Cox gets some meaningful international cricket this summer. I mean, he's been so unlucky with England. He was number 7 in a test match, but I made the joke before the game started, he's going to make a very good 35 not out, and in the end I think he was last out for about 25.
Yeah.
But you could see the problem with a specialist bat at number 7, with Jofra Archer coming, all due respect, coming in at number 8.
And that beats the attempted drive on the up of Cracknell. And also, there's a possibility, as he keeps quite well, that maybe he could keep as well, because that seems to be a major England problem at the moment.
I think they want to persist with Jamie Smith as much as possible.
Well, change of people might change that, and that's driven on the up, but over extra cover for 4. There's a good shot in the end from Holden.
And if they think Cox is a better keeper, then there isn't a huge, perhaps, body of evidence with Cox, but if they think he's a better keeper, then that would do it. But I mean, of course, they don't necessarily pick their best keeper, England, do they?
Well, they don't pick Surrey's best keeper, but I know he's injured. And that is cut away, and this is certainly 1. Do they want 2? No, they don't. And quite rightly, good piece of fielding in the deep in the end after Walters couldn't stop the initial one.
32 balls to get 39. Middlesex just starting to edge ahead. Essex probably need to break this partnership now.
Yeah, these two have just steadied the ship a little. And goes back and has to just play it defensively back to the bowler. It's well bowled from Matt Critchley. He's gone for, been a little bit expensive so far. He's gone for 33. Reverse, but missed. And a half shout for LB. And that's the end of a decent over. 2 dot balls to finish. And 7 off the over, 104 for 5 after 15. Critchley will finish with 1 for 30 from his 4 overs.
In the North Group, the Notts Outlaws have beaten Durham by 2 runs. They go back on top. They're 28 points. They're playing, say, like Notts Outlaws tended to play a few years ago in the T20. And they lead Yorkshire by 2. At the moment, that is the group where it looks like the best second place side could well come from, because they have 26 points for Yorkshire in second place, so that could be something to look out for. But certainly those 2 teams are in complete control of that group. Notts 28, Yorkshire 26, both winning today, 10 points clear of the rest. Lancashire in third, not playing. So, 5 overs to go, 39 needed. And it's going to be Mackenzie Jones. I'm glad he's got a bowl. He had a good outing the other day, 2 for 9. He can repeat that, that'd be very handy. He's had a very good day so far. He comes into bowl, that's driven away, and it goes for 4. That's slightly over pitched. And Cracknell has seized on the erring in length and cracked that away between cover and mid-off. So Harmer's got into this situation, we highlighted it a moment ago, where effectively he's got his 5th bowling option to cover 4 of the last 7 overs.
Yep.
Which is unusual, but Benkenstein, of course, is one of the options that could bowl. Mackenzie Jones, of course, bowling at the moment. Zamanak has also bowled. Here's Mackenzie Jones again, straight approach bowls, that's pushed away into the offside, quick single for Cracknell. So a good start to the over for Middlesex. They've taken 5 runs pretty quickly. They need a further 34. They have got 28 balls. They are closing the gap between the runs required and the deliveries left. Essex need to break what is now a very stubborn 6th wicket partnership, which has done pretty well.
Yep, and when you think Holman was dropped on 1 or 2.
So 34 required. This is a hit without timing, but it goes away for 1. I think he's trying to hit it much straighter than that. It's gone out towards deep square leg, and there is a single there. So 110 for 5. And Middlesex just happy to score off most deliveries at the moment, I think, in the current match situation. And Holman goes to 15. He's had a very good all-round game.
Yep.
Cracknell 23. So a pretty experienced player these days, Cracknell, and this is a good chance for him to settle things down. Huge open spaces in front of square on the onside. Mackenzie Jones pulls out of his run out. Something was wrong, and he's going to make the long walk back.
Yeah, Joe Cracknell finally broke into the championship side in the middle of last season, having only, I think, played 2 championship matches up till then. Most of his play for Middlesex, this is his 65th T20.
Australia coasting home in the Women's World Cup final. They need 22 from 6 overs with 8 wickets in hand, so that's all over. This is hit in the air and just past mid-off for 4. In the air for a while from Cracknell, but pretty straight, and there was a little bit of interest there for Pepper at mid-off, but it was too straight for him. Couldn't get across to it. And this is turning into a pretty good over from a Middlesex perspective. Down to 29, and there's still to come a further 26 deliveries. So that gap is almost closed, and Essex desperate for a wicket now. Mackenzie Jones 10 off the over so far. Can he get that wicket? He comes up with ball. That's a slightly shorter one, and it's pulled away down towards fine leg. It's just out of our sight. There should be no more than one, and there isn't. So 115 for 5. 28 from 25. Normally you'd say this is the batting side's game, but it's been a strange sort of day here. It has, in many respects.
Yes, I don't think anyone should put money on either side at the moment. Anything could happen in the next 4 overs, and
It does look as though Hampshire are going to win. That's probably the better result for Essex. Probably, particularly if they lose this game. 115 for 5. Here's Mackenzie Jones bowling, and that's played defensively back down the pitch. Good end to the over from Mackenzie Jones. So 115 for 5, 28 required from 24 deliveries. It's been a good partnership, this. They've rescued Middlesex from a very perilous position, well, Middlesex have got back into a position, Guy, but they now should win.
Yeah, but the moment that happens, the nosebleed
We've been there
starts.
before, at least once today.
The nosebleed begins when moments
It's been
like
good,
that.
sensible cricket.
But it has, and they've scored 41, these two, which is by some way the best partnership of the innings so far. It's just, can they see their side home? But it's been another, as you rightly said earlier, Nick, we might not have come into the day expecting 2 classic games, but largely that's what we've seen. If you're an Essex fan for the women earlier,
Yes.
maybe not if you're a Surrey fan, but you still saw plenty of runs. You saw 390 runs. And now coming back in, it's Shane Snater's final over in the 17th over, so no pressure then. He bowled his previous 3 overs, which cost 28 from this Sir Alistair Cook end. And now bowling to Cracknell. Oh, launches it up and over. And it goes for 4, 1 bounce 4, I think, below us. Because we couldn't quite see what was happening down there, because our television keeps freezing. I think it's 76 for 5 on the television we've got. There was no one there, so 4 off the first ball of the over, and suddenly all the pressure's off as far as Middlesex are concerned. Score goes up to 119. 4 more to Cracknell, who's impressed. That's flicked into the leg side, and there'll just be 1, but 5 off the first 2 balls. That's excellent work from Joe Cracknell, who now moves on to 33 from 24 balls. He's hit 5 fours and played a mightily impressive innings given the trouble his team were in when he came to the crease. 58 for 4 and then 74 for 5. And that's a lovely shot from Holman. He's threaded that. It may be stopped going for 4, and there is a brilliant save on the boundary, but they're actually going to run the first 3 of the day. And
Doing it well, these two.
that's really good running. To run 3 on this pitch is really good work. But lovely piece of fielding down below us. It's long off for the left-handed Holden. Again, flicked into the leg side. It'll be only 1, but that's 9 off the over. 2 balls left as well, so they're ahead of the run rate. Just playing it sensibly.
Warwickshire have beaten Gloucestershire. Poor old Gloucestershire having to travel for an afternoon game at Edgbaston, having played at home to Surrey last night.
Oh,
Well, that's ridiculous, and they always lose sides in that situation. They've lost by 30 runs. That's a setback for them after their very good win last night.
Yes, I think that happened to... Yes, it did happen to Middlesex. That's punched out into the covers. There's 1 run. After they won their one match, after they won their one match in Sussex, they next day were playing back at Merchant Taylor School, and funnily enough, looked a little tired.
It's a fair trek from Bristol to Edgbaston.
M5. Oh, it's on the M5. That's always closed. It was closed when I drove back from Devon the other day. That was miserable. So that's punched up to long on, and there is no run. 6 hours to get from North Devon to Bristol, and another single is taken.
They're getting there. They are getting there,
They
Middlesex.
really are. 126 for 5.
17 to get in 3. Essex absolutely desperate for wickets, but as I say, Harmer has gone through a lot of his top overs, if you like, in terms of his key wicket-taking options. Front-loaded, if you like, and I expect deliberate, because he knew that that was probably the best ploy here, with short of runs, even with the recovery. But he does have that 1 over of Sam Cook, which he's going to use now, and he has to probably use it in the 18th rather than the 19th over, which probably would have been his first choice.
Snater's figures 1 for 39 from his 4.
Not his best day. He's had a very good season all round, leading the attack in the T20 in the absence of Cook.
I don't think he's bowled.
No,
I wouldn't have had him down as a 1 for 39 from what we'd seen, but
it hasn't quite worked for him. But he's had a very good season all round.
Cook currently 1 for 19 from his 3. But yes, this is a kind of throw of the dice from Harmer, isn't it? He's got to break this partnership, and Cook is your best bet.
And Worcestershire have beaten Glamorgan also in the Central and West group. So here is Cook bowling, and that's hit in the air and caught, and Cook has come up trumps at the first time of asking, straight to cover point from Cracknell. He's out for 35. Essex were desperate to take a wicket at that point, and they've duly managed to do it. And Cook, well, thinking Essex could do with him having 2 overs to go rather than 1 at this point, but that's the way they've worked it. What can he do in this 1 over? 2 for 19 he has. Zafar is coming in. He's a useful bat. Should still be Middlesex's game, but just when Essex were absolutely desperate for a wicket, they managed to get one. And Cook 2 for 19 in 3 overs and 1 ball. It means 17 balls, 17 runs, 4 wickets in hand.
Yeah, he's 36, he's 35, coming off 27 balls, 5 fours. The 50 partnership had just come up. Looked as if they were coasting, and he somehow manages to hit ball on the up straight to cover for, well, essentially catching practice, wasn't it? So Cracknell goes, 2nd wicket for Cook. Good decision by Harmer to bring Cook in, as now Holman has to really see this home with the tail. He really can bat Zafar Gohar, but he is a bowler who bats, not the other way round.
Hampshire beaten Kent, and Hampshire are nearly there. 28 points from 9 games. But if Essex can win this game, they are going to go above Surrey into 2nd. And they still have to play Hampshire, of course, next Friday. But Middlesex surely favourites at the moment. At the moment, it looks like Hampshire are going to have an 8-point lead on the pack in the South Group. So Zafar is on strike. 17 required from 17 balls. 4 wickets left. Here is Cook to bowl. That's a wide outside the leg stump, I think. Yes. Umpire took a while to agree with that. I was wondering why the delay. But maybe he was thinking Sam Cook never bowls anything wide. I can't give that.
Yes.
But it did look a fairly sort of... Harmer's not totally happy with it, but it looked like a fairly regulation.
You and I both
wide.
Thought wide, yeah.
Couldn't see anything unusual about it, but Harmer wanted to have a chat to the umpire on that one. But 16 required off 17. So it's Zafar on strike. And he comes down the pitch and he checks his drive and hits it straight to the cover, and there's no run. He had ambitions there, Zafar, but he got rid of them fairly quickly once he saw the delivery and was happy just to play it up into the covers. And he doesn't need to be over aggressive against anything that's not there for the shot at this point. 16 required from 16 balls with 4 wickets in hand to get this 143. Here comes Cook in his final over. Up to the wicket. He bowls beautiful Yorker, but dug out well by Zafar, and he gets a single just off the bottom of the bat. Just dug it out, played it with no pace into the off. So probably wasn't too worried about where it went. He just happy about keeping it out of his stumps, but he got the bonus of the run, which means it's 15 off 15 with 4 wickets in hand. Essex were 69 for 8. They made 142 for 8. One of the weirdest, most extraordinary T20 games here in recent years. We've seen some high-scoring classics. There was one here on Wednesday night. This is a different sort of game, but just as intriguing. As Cook bowls, and that's played away into a gap. Now there's a single probably only there, and they will settle for that. But that was good placement.
Yep.
And that's 20 for Holman. Having a very good day, isn't he? Probably Middlesex win, the Middlesex man of the match, I would have thought.
Yeah, taking four for 21,
yeah.
And then if he does see the side home, I don't think there'll be anybody else.
14 to get from 14 balls. Could Cook get another wicket in this over? He's only got this over. Cook bowls again. That is a slightly short ball. It's pulled away. It's going to fall safe. I'm not sure he was totally in control of that, Zappa, but he's got a run. Could he easily have holed out? Didn't actually hit it hard enough to hold out, which is probably a good thing too. He's repeating the shot again, but he's got a run.
Punch the bat in frustration
13
as well.
from 13 with 4 wickets left. So Hampshire are to 28 points. They've also got a game in hand, by the way, on Essex, so they really are in a very strong position. But it really is getting very bunched up. Kent stay on 16. Surrey have 20, and Essex will stay on 20 if they lose, but go to 24 if they can find a way of winning. But still all to play for in the group.
Round the wicket now.
Here is Cook again. Bowls, and that's just slid away off the open face down towards deep backward point. They're scoring off most deliveries here. They'll settle for, although there was a wicket, they will settle probably for that overall Middlesex. They've seen off the Cook over. That's the important thing. And Harmer's got 2 overs to find here. There's 12 to get. They've basically gone along at a run of ball in the over there. 12 from 12 with 4 wickets in hand. Nothing that wouldn't be damaged from a Middlesex point of view by another quick wicket for Essex and to bring somebody new in.
Yep, 12 off the final 2 overs. They've seen Cook off, as you rightly said. Bowled very well though, 2 for 24 from his 4 overs, and his third one went for 10. So that was excellent. But now the real pressure on, well, the make-up bowlers really.
Yeah,
it's Zaman Akhtar.
I absolutely see Harmer's strategy today in the terms of trying to front load his attack. But I bet he wished he'd had a second over of Cook to up his sleeve at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
But I absolutely see what his thinking has been.
Or another spinner he could trust.
Yep.
Well, it will be, one presumes, Akhtar and Jones to finish this. And Jones has had a pretty good match so far. He's taken 3 catches, 19 not out in that wonderful death partnership with his skipper. Can he do something dramatic with the ball? But first, it will be Zaman Akhtar to bowl to Luke Holman, who's waiting around, and everyone's making sure they're in the right place, and Holman's making sure he knows where everybody is. Full toss, well bowled. Well bowled. It wasn't a full toss, it was Yorker length, and Holman had stepped outside leg stump. The bowler saw it and bowled a good couple of feet outside off stump. Holman couldn't reach it. Excellent death bowling. So now 12 required off 11. Runs away from us again. Right arm round the wicket, and that's swung away by Holman into the space, and I think it's going to get there, and it's 4. It wasn't pretty, but it was really well placed. You could see what Holman wanted to do. He could see that somewhere between mid-wicket and long on there was room, and as I say, it wasn't something that you would gasp and say that's the most beautiful cricket shot I've ever seen, but boy was it a mightily effective one. It's now got lost behind the covers, so they're all having to be wheeled out the way so they can try and get the ball back. Here it comes.
Very important boundary, that one.
Yes.
8 from 10.
Just
4 wickets in hand. Got
swings
to be
it
Middlesex's game.
Should be Middlesex's
Really,
game.
yeah. I mean, There is as much control now as they were when it was 69 for 8.
Exactly.
But look what happened then.
Quite. So, as far as Middlesex fans are concerned, it's not over until it's over. Right arm round the wicket to Holman, who is crouching, ready to play, and he plays that into the one fielder on the leg side, so it's another dot ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, might not just have been me, but just having a few concerns about the possible integrity of this group, given Middlesex's, very poor record in recent years, and Sussex obviously under very severe financial measures. But this has been a performance of Middlesex which has sort of rolled back a few years. If I can just finish it off here.
Yes, there is an if in that sentence as it comes, and that's swung around. This is along the ground, but it goes, for a moment I thought he'd hit it up in the air, and it goes out to long leg, and they take a single, so 7 now required from 8 deliveries. Zafar Gohar on strike, goes and has a word with Luke Holman. Simon Harmer goes and has a word with Zoom Akhtar.
Yes, this is the interesting thing. Snater, Cook, Harmer, Critchley have all bowled out. So you'd think it probably would have to be Mackenzie Jones.
Right arm round the wicket, and that's dug out nicely. Nice looking shot. Just punched out. Singles will do in this over now, to be frank.
And if it were to be Mackenzie Jones and an Essex win, that would be a late challenge to Harmer's Man of the Match award.
Yes.
But Harmer, he'd love another over of Cook. But Akhtar's done okay in this over, but there's not much to defend now. Just 6 required.
Yes, well, he'll be the Essex Man of the match. I'd argue if Holman gets them over the line, he'll probably be man of the match.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Last ball of the over. Oh, and it's smacked. Is there a fielder down there? No, there is not. That's 6, and that's it. And Middlesex have won with a mighty blow from, now, man of the match, Luke Holman, who finishes on, superb knock this from Luke Holman. He ended up on 32 not out from 27 balls, 3 fours and a 6, and he sees Essex home with an over to spare. It looks as if they were going to win it a little easier earlier on, when it was 69 for 8 after 15 overs after they put Essex in. But Harmer's wonderful career best got them to 142 for 8. Essex stuttered en route, that's for sure. But Leas Deploy with 38. There were also important runs from Joe Cracknell. He made 35. And then that man, Luke Holman, in the company of Zafar Gohar, saw the team home, and they have wrapped up a 4-wicket win with 6 balls in hand.
And just say Australia have won the Women's World Cup by a big margin, I think by 7 wickets, so well done to them. But extraordinary day's cricket, and an extraordinary game in its own right, really. And Middlesex have surprised Essex at Chelmsford again. We did say it's not unheard of, and it sometimes happens when you least expect it. But well done to Middlesex. They've had a terrible time. I think I just get the feeling they hit about as low as you can go, Richmond, last week. And there's been a bit of a get together. I was really impressed by the way that the captain was encouraging the bowlers throughout. And I think a couple of good little tweaks in the team selection as well. Sharma was very good up top, for example, and obviously Holman's spell. And you can recover from 69 for 8, but it's very difficult to win from being 69 for 8, as Essex found. And Middlesex made hard work of it, but in the end, it's that 6-wicket partnership that was critical. I think that really just closed the door on Essex, didn't it, in the end? I mean, you look at where they were 74 for 5, those two put on 52. Yeah. And Cracknell was out with, 17 needed at a run of ball, but I thought Zafar came in and played quite sensibly to support. Holman, who's the Middlesex man of the match, the man of the match for the game, 32 from 27, well done to him. And it means the group, the Essex run rate would have been slightly dented. They haven't updated that yet, but it's Hampshire 28 from 9, Surrey 20 from 9, Essex will be 20 from 10, Kent 16 from 10. So Kent losing probably the best outcome. Hampshire in a very strong position, but Essex still very much in contention, and they play Hampshire on Friday.
Well, that will be an intriguing match. Thank you very much indeed for having me today, Nick.
No, it's been great to have you. I know I'm seeing you a bit later on in the season as well, so look forward to that.
Absolutely.
And so well done to Middlesex. Middlesex
second victory of the season.
Second victory. Essex still very much in contention, but shot by Middlesex at Chelmsford again. Victory for Middlesex here by 4 wickets. Thanks for listening today, and join us on Friday evening. It'll be a cracking atmosphere, and enjoy the rest of your evening.